Hey everybody, what's up? Sir Venom IK coming to you right now with my man Khreegor for episode 36 of the Across Your Bow podcast. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, Khreegor. What is this, number 112 that you've been on? This was the third one, isn't it?
Third.
Third
It's a
time on the
three-peat,
cast?
buddy.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Now, has anybody else done a three-peat yet? Or do I get to be the first three-peat?
I think I've had Jash on twice. The Senpai's on 3 times, maybe. I think my man
Damn
Fitz.
it.
I think
Senpai
my
beat
man
me.
Fitz in your mom is also 3 times. I don't think I've had a 4-timer yet. I don't remember though. I'd have to go
All
back
right, we
and
got to
look at
schedule
the.
that one.
I'd have to look at the vods. But what up, man? What you been working on this week for shippity ships? Or you been playing? You've been playing that Warcraft like everybody else. I know I
A
have.
little bit of both. A
I've
little bit
been
of both.
playing the hell out of it.
Jumped into rank sprints on Monday
Mm-hmm.
with one of my mods, Mr. Stamps NA.
Mm-hmm.
My original ship's Sifu for all of our Weeb fans out there.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that discovered me playing ships when I was still in like tier 2 and said if I did, what was the statement? If I see you roll broadside one more time, I'm going to find out where you are and slap the shit out of you. Let me show you how to do this correctly, which I appreciate because he's helped me. He helped me grow a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I actually am averaging cruisers.
Well, hey man, there's nothing that you could do but have averageness. That's At least that's what I'm striving for. Striving for that averageness.
There you go. Other than that, man, just got back from PAX last weekend over the Labor Day weekend.
Oh,
and
how
some
was
Wild
PAX?
Classic as well.
Did you go to
It
the
was a ton of
Dungeons and
fun.
Dragons live thing?
I didn't. It was $60 to do this thing.
$60.
And
I remember like
I
the first
couldn't-
couple of years they were begging people to come into that show. That show's been although Acquisitions Incorporated has been fucking amazing.
Sorry, wrong thing. So they had two D&D things. So Acquisitions Inc. Fuck no, it didn't go. Dude, that thing was at 80% line cap 3.5 hours before it started.
Jesus.
Because now if you they partnered with some, I can't remember the travel app thing, I have to look it up. Guidebook, I think it is. So you can track all the panels, see how big the lines are, and they've got enforcers permissions to go in and update the line. So you know, if I get there now, am I even gonna have a chance?
Right.
Or is it just not worth it? Just queue it up on Twitch.
Yeah.
They also had a charity was doing like a LARP D&D style thing where they took over an entire convention floor and built out an entire tavern and dungeon and the
That sounds
whole
cool.
works. You got the garb, everything else, which sounded really cool, but I had so many things on my must-get list for some of my followers, friends, family, that I couldn't justify the $60 to go do it. It's supposed to be an amazing 2.5-hour experience, and I've spent $60 on shit I only played with for 15 minutes and chucked. But I spent way too much money on other things like dice and stuff. So
Yeah. No, I
Fun week
totally
already.
get that. I've never been to PAX. I think I've been to TwitchCon, which is coming up 15 days. I leave for TwitchCon,
Yep.
so I'm pretty stoked about that. I've been to those. It's a little bit of a different vibe. Obviously, PAX is such a bigger event and it's been going on a lot longer. I think Twitch is only in six years or something. I know I missed the first two, but or maybe it's this. I don't know. Either way,
I think it's
I'm-
6 or 7 for TwitchCon.
yeah, something like that. But I've only been at the last two, and it's been a pretty enjoyable experience to go out there and to meet all the peers, and not have to be judged. But then you get judged by the vendors if you're a partner or not, and it's kind of But I've been on both ends of it, so
Yeah, I only had, which is nice what I like about PAX, at least this year compared to last year, I only had one vendor stupid enough to ask me what my average viewer count was. I had one indie game thing, I was checking it out, and he saw my lanyard, so I was wearing my Khreegor lanyard, or my Gorpak one, and he asked what game it was for, and I said it was for my Twitch channel. He goes, "Oh, what's your average viewership like?"
none of
Like
your
I said,
business.
"What's your average annual revenue off this game?" "Why are you asking that?" I'm like, "I don't know. You're asking my revenue numbers. I'm asking you yours. Let's
Yeah.
trade information here." "Well, that's proprietary." I'm like, "So is mine. You have a great day." And I handed him back his code he'd given me and everything else and walked off. I'm like, screw you, buddy. I just talked to some other game companies like, "No, we love streamers. Yeah, here's some stuff. Here's some extra goodies. You got a card so we can reach out to you. We're trying to get things going. Sweet. Let's have a conversation." But when the first thing out your damn mouth to me is, "What's your average viewer count?" you're not going to like the reply that comes back from
Yeah,
me, 'cause I ain't playing that game.
there's a there's a fine line. There's a fine line of like I don't. we're all there like at TwitchCon. I'm just there to have a good time, just to meet people, maybe make some connections with some kind of company here or something like that. And but when it goes directly into the numbers after the beginning of a conversation, or they like pull you aside, hey man, I see you're a partner. Let me tell you about my product. And I'm like, sure, fine, I'll listen to whatever they have to say. But when they start getting into that, I'm like, I don't know if you're right for me. That kind of, I don't know, man. It's frustrating, and it's a whole lot of marketing nonsense that you have to get into being a streamer if
Yep.
if you want to get anywhere. But either way, well, this
And I
one,
get where they're coming from on that one, but like that's not what you lead off with if you want to
yeah,
have a good, productive a business conversation.
yeah,
You know?
they definitely don't want to lead off with that, because then you know what, it sours it, and it was like, okay, well, I'm just wasting my time talking to this guy. Now, how do I get out of it? Average, 4 people in my channel. Uh, Well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now it's awkward because this guy wants to continue to tell you about his shit, but he has no. He's not going to come back with anything. It's just wasting your time at that point.
Yep. But yeah, no, that's Wild Classic grinding with you and everybody else over there in Spreadsheet Approved.
Spreadsheet approved. Yeah, man. WoW Classic's been a lot of fun. I've been playing that quite a bit, and I'm kind of surprised too, because usually I get to the point with MMOs that I don't really have a desire to do anything. And this game has really kept my attention. I've played it 86 hours on stream and then a lot off stream.
Yeah. And Warlock, which is one of the best classes in my totally biased opinion.
I, I like the warlock, but I've been having more fun on my priest.
Really?
Yeah, I've
Shadow
been.
or healing on them?
I don't know. I'm healing the party, but I'm also doing a little bit of damage here and there, so it's kind of a hybrid right now because I'm only level
Nice.
28, so I don't. I've been fucking up my skills, and I'll eventually put them where they need to go later after I redo it. But anyway, this week, let's say we ranked out way too many games, and let's go ahead and start to cast with that. Rank season sprints 6v6. You got a couple more days to finish out on rank sprints, and I know I finished up. Played. We were struggling, man.
Yeah.
We went through, and I was playing with my man Cased first, and then he had to get off. So then I started playing with my man Fitz in your aft, and toward the end of that first night, we were rolling smooth, and we were doing very well. And then all of a sudden, we hit a bump, and I was like, I don't know what these people are doing, man. Hey
The rank
guys,
5 bump?
no, it's not even a rank 5 bump. I think we're at rank 4, and we're like when or no, I just hit rank 3, and we had won. We were 1 star away from rank 2, and the ending is in the sight, and then we lost 4 games in a row, and it was the stupidest fucking reasons why we lost. Why we lost these games? It just, why are you pushing into this cap? Well, they're over there. I was like, yeah, well, we have both caps. There's no reason to push them. Let them push out. Let them push this way. And then, that way we're not exposed. So our battleship goes in there, and then our other battleship goes in there. And so it leaves me as a DD playing the 61. And then it leaves Fitz in his battleship. And we have, luckily enough, we have another 5-inch clan member, my man G Spot, or his name is G Spot Man, was actually on our team there, and he was in the deal, and he was about to roll in there in his Leander. And I said, no, turn the fuck around, man. Stop shooting, go dark, and get the hell out of there. You do not need to go in there, man. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, dude, just turn around and come back behind the island where this motherfucker is, and anyway, it was 4 versus 3. I went up north, and I killed the DD, and then the battleship slowly came out, and I hit them all with torps. Man, it was great. It was a good game, and that turned it around for us, and then we were able to push out on the second day. But it was a struggle, man. It was, here's something. I don't know, maybe if anybody noticed this. I know I noticed this, and I know you did because we talked about it a minute ago. This was the first rank season that they put all of everybody in the same pool.
Yeah.
Meaning rank 10 players were playing with rank 2 players, and I'm like, wow, this is This is interesting.
Dog
I've
shit.
never experienced that. I'm not sure if I like that.
Yeah, to quote the great Majash, dog shit.
I,
Oh
is
man,
it?
we had the match that we ended up having to call it on the first night. Two matches back to back. Destroyers rolling into the B cap, throwing up their smoke, and not just sitting broadside in smoke, but sitting broadside towards the channel. You know the other destroyer has to come through based on spawn,
Yeah.
and eating torps. Gone. Two DDs down in under the first 2 minutes of the match. We're like, what are we gonna do? Like, Stamps and I are like, well, we can try and fight to save a star, but this is gonna be entertaining. One of us is gonna get ahead of the other one.
There's one
Just
entertaining fact
horrible.
about this though was that I was able to division up with Fitz when he was ranked 6 and I was ranked 5 this time. That was nice. Because
Yeah,
we would lose a game and I would keep my star, and then he would go back to 6 and I would be at 5, and then we would progress together. It was it was hard. I don't know what it is, man. The last Tier 9 rank season had gone by, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and it was my fastest rank out ever. Of course, we started at like rank 10 instead of the rank 13. So we only 94 games to rank out from that point, which is great because that's another 100 games that I would have played in a normal rank season probably. To while simultaneously running clan battles, which I didn't run clan battles, but they're running clan battles and rank season together. Now they're doing these rank sprints, and not only that,
yeah,
there's still 3 more rank sprints in the tube.
yep,
There's another tier 6 rank sprint coming up right after this, and then there's a tier 7 rank sprint and a tier 8 rank sprint right back to back.
yeah. I'd like to see matchmaking reverted to how it was before, but put a two spread gap on it, and whoever's got the better rank is dragging the guy along. So, like in your case, you're 5, Fitz is 6, or whichever way it was there, you can still pair up. Or if
Hmm.
Fitz is even 7, you can still pair up. But it will prevent somebody rank 2 from dragging their rank 10 buddy through everything.
Right.
But I swear, when you got people, and I looked at a few offline just out of curiosity, a few that rank 10 people are in the matches, and they're like 40 matches, and they're still ranked 10. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not bad luck at that point. That is just straight up you suck. Like, I don't want to sound like an elitist or a douchebag or a purple unicorn, but if you're still at the starting point after 40 matches, you couldn't manage to somehow save a star a couple times to slowly stagger your way forward. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Well, generally, rank seasons are not much of a test of skill. I think there's a little bit more skillful play involved when you're talking about rank sprint because size of the maps, which this time around was very small. You had Big Race, you had Arpeggio, you had what's the other one? Not was it Ring?
Yeah, Ring.
And Trident actually showed up once for us
Yeah.
during my games.
We've gotten Samsung got traded a couple times. First time that
Yeah,
one popped up, I was pretty surprised.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting playing the Fuso a little bit closer than normal. People are so used to it sitting in the back. When they get a Fuso within 10 kilometers, they're like, oh, it's cool. That thing's not supposed to fight up front. I'm like, no, that
Hmm.
just means my accuracy is way overbalanced at this point.
Yeah. Well, there's a
I'll
there's
slow
a
punch your nose.
there's a mechanic that I want to talk about as well that's kind of popped up. And now that you segued into that, we'll go ahead and talk about
Yeah.
it. But you've been playing this game for how long?
I think we're 2.5, almost 3 years now.
2.5, almost 3 years. Now, when you remember way back in the day being under 10 kilometers of cruisers in battleships and just absolutely smashing them, just death
Yeah.
striking them all the time,
Mm-hmm.
there is now a mechanic in the game that if you're under 10, all you're going to do is overpin. And I can understand
Yeah.
the reason why they've done this, but I also disagree with that decision because now for you to get that consistent death strike instead of just overpin on an Omaha from 4 kilometers, you have to be at 10 to 12 kilometers based on your caliber of your gun. And I think that has slowed the game down for battleships. Battleships are more apt to sit back, which means the cruisers aren't going to want to come in. That which means they're going to sit even further away, so they can still get their HE spam. And now you have this big wide range, 15 to 18 kilometers. So what do
Yeah.
they do? What do they do to fix it? You have these things in the wing. We've played the Slava. That thing is beautiful, by the way. I love that boat. I can't wait for it to come out. Bring it out fast, because now that those games are played at 15 to 18
No.
kilometers.
Remember, you have to say it's overpowered, otherwise it'll get nerfed. Kind of like the Smolensk.
No, I think it's
holy
fine.
shit, this thing's OP, and it got love before it came out.
Yeah.
So the Slava, if Luigi's listening, so overpowered. Please nerf.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think.
Psychology with them.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of feedback from different community contributors saying that this thing is broken, and it puts forth the wrong message of let's sit back and camp. Well, that's the way the game is going. That's literally the way the game is going, and for people to sit there and say, we want something different. We don't want anything to push the meta even further and further away from each other. Well, then they give us boats like the Massachusetts, the Georgia, the entire German battleship line, the Ohio's on in the back burner here. That those are all push boats, but they suck because because the games aren't played up close anymore. They're not played the same as they were 2.5 years ago. It's a completely different meta. It's a completely different gameplay. 2 years ago, the German battleships were some of the best out there, because that's the game. The game played into that meta. Nowadays, the secondary boats are just terrible, because you are so far away, unless you are on a map like, say, North, or something that has mid level mid map islands that you can get up behind. You're pushing from 12 to 15 kilometers in the open water.
Yep.
So I don't.
Yeah, I think it's such a confusing message. If you're sub 10 or less, you're getting all these overpens. Yet, here's a bunch of premium ships we want you to pay money for, or earn this 12th alternate currency we came up with for this boat that's specifically designed to fight sub 12 and 10 kilometers up close. Well, make up your mind. Do you want me taking the battleships in closer with these ships you're designing that way?
Then protect.
Or do you
them.
want me to sit all the way in the back line and long-range ocean artillery the way they were actually played? Like, it's such a confusing message with what they're releasing. Like, what kind of meta do you want to push right now? Because you're pushing it in two completely different ways, and all you're getting is just frustration.
You're getting a lot of interesting things, man. They have sub 10 battleships. Unless you have really small guns, you're not doing much. And based on the shell speed, the faster shell speeds of say the 15-inch guns, you tend to get more overpins because of the shell speed. You see a lot of overpins in the Izimo from 15 because of the shell speed. It's got some of the fastest shell speed coming out. Whereas if you're close with the bigger guns and that have the slower shell speed, like this is why I think the North Carolina is still the best battleship tier for tier, especially at tier 8, is because of the slower shell speed. I come out at 706 or something like that meters per second, and it's actually slow enough.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
The only thing slower than those damn shells is the tier 7 French DD at 701.
Yeah. I mean, hell, my repub, because of how fast the shells come out of that thing, I'm having to play like back 40 Yamato style with that thing, where the repub, her mobility says get in closer, but her shell velocity is so high.
It's not effective.
Yeah, I did a warm-up match the other night before going on stream because we were going to do ranked sprints, and I pulled it my repub. I hit I was 8.5 kilometers from a Lollygrad, full broadside, hit him, all over pens. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It is a damn battle cruiser.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and I went back and
it's nice and wide, too. It's not like it's a real skinny ship, something like the Worcester would be. I mean, it's a wide boat. The Alaska is a pretty wide boat. You should be able to punish it for being broadside under 10 kilometers, and that's the difference now than it used to be back 2 years ago, because used to 2 years ago, if you hit that Citadel, it didn't matter. Now they have said in the past, and I know you've heard this before, that you cannot overpin a Citadel. Well, you can now because your shell speed is too high.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah, it's I don't know.
it's
I'm at a loss for where we're trying to go with it. Like what they I think it would be helpful if they said, or at least gave us a heads up somehow, hey, here's what we're trying to do, so we can wrap our heads around it, so that we can turn around and better explain to the community, here's what they're attempting to try and fix or reconcile with imbalance. Here's an attempt, and it may change later. I think if we had something like that, the community would be like, okay, I get it. You're trying to balance things. We appreciate you. When it's like, now we're just going to make this change. Everybody's going, why? Why are you making that change? I'll be honest. You look at mine, I probably have 60 to 70% of all my matches are in cruisers.
no.
If I'm stupid enough to roll out in front of a battleship when his guns are facing me, sub 10, and I am not juking and jiving as hard as I can, I 100% expect he should remove me from the game and laugh his ass off at all the free credits I just gave him.
Yeah.
But I also want to try and improve. I don't want to sit around and, play co-op just to pick on Afroshan there, just because I'm a butt and I like Afroshan. It's just, yeah, I don't get it. Like, if you're doing it for a balance thing, let us know. Because if we're supposed to be the ones as the CCs going out there and helping present the content to people and teach them about it and what's going on in the changes, throw me a freaking bone. Because when I'm sitting there going, why am I getting all these overpens? And I have to hear through some back channel that this change came through. And we're like, the hell do you mean that change just came through? What? When was that even tested?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this thing coming along.
Yeah, it's like and it's been like that for a while, and it took me a minute to realize, and I was like, you know what, there's something going on because something's different, and it wasn't a change that was announced, and it took me watching to like legit confirm it. It legit confirmed this, Khreegor. I had to watch Euro's video that he put out on the Smolensk yesterday. That legit confirmed.
How is it?
You should watch it because he explains something in there that a lot of people didn't realize about the way the armor mechanics work now. And this is where it comes into the shell speed. This is where I get the shell speed information from. If you have certain amount of shell speed and it's going to go through, it has to go through this much armor before it actually penetrates. And there's a whole mathematic equation for pin versus explosion. And I was like, you know what? There's something wrong. And then I saw that and I was like, well, maybe it's confirmation bias, but that it legit makes sense on what the change was. But it's not something that were willing to say, hey, everybody, this is the way that the new thing is going to be. This is our change. Yeah. So anyway, guys, we're hanging out with my man Khreegor. You guys can hit him up over on his Twitch, twitch.tv/Khreegor, or over on the Twitter at @the_Khreegor. Appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
Yeah.
So check this out. So if this is the meta that they want to push these long-range HE spamming cruisers, which we've seen, which is you literally have three lines that play pretty much the same cruiser-wise. The Hindenburger, the Zhao, and the French, the Henry. They pretty much play the same long-range HE spammer cruisers.
And Worcester, light U.S. cruisers are part of it. It's a 4-pack now.
Well, I still consider the American cruisers to be somewhat closer range island humpers playing around the cap type area because of their radar to make them effective.
True, I'll give you that one.
You might throw in. I will. If you want to make it a 4-peat, I'll give you the Russian ones because the Russian boats, they're not as maneuverable, but they are long range HE spammers as well. Especially the tier 6, the tier 7.
That Moskva.
Yeah, you can get 21 kilometers if I remember correctly. Stalingrad, Kronstadt, they're all long range.
Yep.
Yeah. So those three lines. With varying differences, one's tanky, one's speedy, one's stealthy, respectively, and they all basically have the similar playstyle. And those are some of the strongest ships in the game, based on the fires. Now with this tier 10 Italian bird coming out, this Italian cruiser with 15 203s with the SAP. It plays the same, but I think that this one has a higher skill floor ceiling because you don't get that bonus damage from fires. So it's all on the player itself to get that damage. There, you don't get any help. You don't get any help, and I don't think that people are going to enjoy this boat or think that this boat's worth a shit because they're not getting those bonus that extra 60 to 70, 80k, sometimes 100 plus k in fire damage. So they're going to have to do it all on their own, which I think is great. But I think a lot of people are gonna shit on them because they don't get that extra damage.
I will make the prediction that they will not last 2 months before SAP gets a nerf after release. After watching you, Majash, Oni, and a couple of the other guys play them, I watched Oni in 3 salvos, 100-0, 3 separate destroyers.
Yeah,
Because
it's
the
way too
damage on that SAP does not, apparently, from the best way I can see it, and I'm not fucking testing them. After the Smolensk, I'm on a fuck you test phase at the moment. So I'm going to wait till they come out. But from what I can tell, there's no real damage saturation on this SAP round because I watched him. Those shells came in beautiful. Like RNG's just blessed him with a tight pack on the first one that should have, with a standard HE round, he would have seen a diminishing return on the last of the 8 shells that hit.
Uh-huh.
And the DD would have been low and hurting.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been dead.
But he just vaporized 3 of them, just boom, boom, boom. And they were a Shima. It was the Z, the tier 9. I can't think of the damn number for it now.
46.
46, yeah, thank you. And Grozavoy. So they weren't weak boats. If you had the light torpedo and then 2 beefier, just off the map. So I'm calling it now, after watching the damage those things are putting out, there's going to be so much pitchforks and torches from the destroyer community.
It's already started.
SCP is going to get a slapping.
It's already started. I did my feedback. I did my feedback today for the tier 10, the Paulo Emilio, and the 2 tier 5s that they had given us. And the tier 5 line ship, it's 152, so it doesn't really do much. But it's still getting it 4,000 to 5,000 damage volleys if you hit the shells. It's only got 8 guns. I played one game today in the Genova, which is the tier 5 with the 203s. Number one, I'm going to give you my opinion right now. I think that boat's terrible. It's only got 13.1 kilometer range, and for tier 5, that's seeing tier 7s a lot right now. Oh. It's awful. It's awful. It's an awful boat. Not only that, but you have 20-second reloads. Yeah, 20-second reloads. But
sub 14 range and a 20-second reload on the guns.
You have basically effective range of 11.5 kilometers. And the guns are loopy, and they hit like a truck when they hit. But my God, dude, 20-second reload, it's pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible. And the thing gets B6 and myself, we both agree that it gets way too punished for having the 203s. Now, with that being said, I 3-shot a full health Minsk today in it. He was killing me, and I knew I was going to die. But I hit him the first salvo with $7,000. Second salvo, another $5,000. Third salvo, with a kill shot with whatever he had left. 3 shots. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, look, I don't want to give the DD players any more than they've already gotten, because they took away my battleship AP, and which I still think was a mistake. Which what happened pushed the game a little bit further away as well, because they can't do the damage that they need to. But that's not this podcast. But they do need to do something about this, because right now it's out of control, the amount of damage that they can do. And I put my feedback in there. These SAP shells do way too much to DDs. DDs are probably the most important class in the game, I think, and they're also they have the most to do. There's so much that the DDs have to do, and now you have to be able to let them do it and not punish them severely just for being spotted. Man, it's such a interesting dichotomy that they have created, and then when subs come out, which is something that we'll talk about here in a minute, how much more those destroyers are going to have to do to be involved. And it's like, honestly, dude, it's not even worth playing a DD anymore because
Yeah. So I give DD class a lot of shit because they're constantly trying to balance around them and they're nerfing everything else. I really think they need to shift the reward system so that it will shift some of the workload back over to the battleships, back over to the cruisers, and not have one line make or break a match.
yeah,
Essentially, DDs right now are the make or break, like CVs were pre rework. If your CV was bad,
you were losing.
you 100% lost.
Yeah.
Right
If
now,
your guy didn't know how to control the
bad,
fight, if your guy didn't know how to control your fighters, didn't know how to control the fighters and dominate that other guy in the air, you were screwed. The same thing here. I mean, you can have shitty battleships, you can have shitty cruisers, but if you have shitty DDs, you lost 100% of those games.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
My favorite thing now when people yell to DDs what to do is I'll just type in chat. I'll put their name in there. People are like, so Venom, am I going to see you in DD's next match so you can show us how it's played since you're so good about it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I'm just an ass back to people now because I get the extra workload that they have to do, and then what they're designed to do, and then all the nerfing they have to do because they forced all this extra workload on them. Like it's a vicious spiral that's getting tighter and tighter as it's going down the bowl there, and they need to figure out something. And I, because we're going to go on to the subs, my favorite thing now to type in chats is hashtag fuck subs fix game. Stop adding more. Stop putting pretty bows on it.
Just I can
fix the classes and give everybody a role again, like it was when I started.
Well, I can appreciate them putting out content for creators like us or makers like us that we want to have something to do while we're in the game. I can appreciate that aspect of it, but that's about all I can appreciate of it. I've said it here on the podcast. I don't like subs. I think subs are stupid, and I don't think they belong in the game. But from the initial gameplay footage that we saw at Gamescom, and you guys can go back and watch that if y'all want to. I think that they're making a mistake leaving sub-hunting duties to DDs alone. Now I understand that that's their role and that's what they're designed to do. Go hunt these, be a fleet escort. Go hunt these submarines. But did you see what happened there, Khreegor? In that, what happens when this dude's pinging you now? Now you have an idea. DD needs to go get into these fucking circles, taking them out of the main game and putting them in their own separate fucking mini game that goes alongside the regular game. I'm sorry, but that's taking too much. You're putting too much pressure on that DD player to perform. So you need to take some of that pressure off of them and go put it on some of these light cruisers. It
wasn't the whole complaint
secondaries
with the RTS of CVs that it's its own mini game within the game the way it wasn't intended, and so now we're adding a different, fucking Candy Crush mini game into it. And don't even get me started on their pinging to be able to nuke a battleship off the map. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm going to trade a 30,000 HP ship for 75,000 HP battleship. Yeah, I'll totally ping at myself blowing off the map. That's going to be a huge impact. Okay, let's go.
I think the game. I think battleships have been, not lately, but in the past, battleships have been the big beefy bastards of the game, and they still kind of are. But they had been so dominant for such a long time. They had been so dominant for such a long time that they had to shift. They shifted the game. They shifted the game with a stealth fire nerf, because DDs were absolutely dominate battleships that way, and that didn't fit into the whole circle of life. Battleships over cruisers, over destroyers, over battleships. That just didn't really fit, and so they made that change, and that helped the battleships a little bit. But then they go off on this IFHE kick, which I still disagree with IFHE, because it ended up causing more fires than nerfing the fire chance like it's supposed to, because you get more pins now, and more pins equals more fires, or at least more fire chance. So they've had this mechanic in the game for a long time, where it didn't matter. Let's give the battleships fire prevention. Let's give them a little bit of protection from fires. Well, that doesn't fucking work enough. It's not good enough. I don't care if I'm on 3 fires, if I'm on fire the entire game.
Yeah.
Being on 3 fires instead of 4 really doesn't mean shit, and if you're on fire the whole time. So I think that and I've said this a bunch on this podcast, and I've said it a bunch of the shows, and that you have to take another hard look at fixing fire prevention. 10%, that doesn't actually mean 10%. You don't start out at 90. I have a 100% fire chance on this boat. You don't immediately drop down to 90%. No, you're looking at 10% of what your fire chance is. So if you're playing a big gun Conqueror at 64% or 65%, 10% off of that is 6.5%. You're still over 50%. That's way too much.
Yep.
There's been this big thing about dots. Everybody, for some reason, wargaming loves dots, and the community loves dots for some reason, because it's free damage that they don't actually have to work for it. It's easy damage. So what do? Set fires on this guy and then move on to the next guy. Set fires on that guy. Once those fires go out, set him up, shoot him up again.
I always jokingly refer to it as it's warships glitter. I get to keep seeing the sparklies on your Yamato while I'm shooting at somebody else, and those sparklies are giving me more credit, so that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's fucking warships glitter. The more you're flickering with fire and flooding, and I see your little lights, it's shiny. I see numbers. My damage goes up. Yay. I don't know. I like starting the fires as a cruiser. It's what lets me do damage against some of the bigger battleships, because I'm not going to hit as solid individually. But considering my main job as a cruiser is to get the destroyers and the vision off the map, that should be more of a secondary. Now, I don't want to see it gone completely. It definitely needs to be reworked. Otherwise, what you'll come up with is destroyers are not afraid to charge a battleship. You're going to get battleships who aren't afraid to get in range of the cruisers, because they're like, whatever, I'm just going to shrug it off. Who cares?
What are you talking about, man? They have to be scared to get in range. Number one, they can't fucking kill them anymore. They can't rush a cruiser because
that's what I'm saying.
At 15 kilometers, you hit them you hit them in one spot for 20,000 damage, but you reload at 30 seconds, and you end up going 2 kilometers in under 30 seconds to where you're only doing overpins now. So there's really no incentive in the game as a battleship player to actually push anymore. There is absolutely zero incentive.
The cruisers, they don't have the fear of battleships anymore, because they're not going to get deleted as soon as they rush in, and I can outturn your turret rotation and just keep lighting you on fire.
And God help us if
so they need to figure out a way to balance the fire, and really give a punishment back to cruisers for exposing themselves, because right now
there's no punishment.
Cruiser on cruiser, you'll delete each other.
Yeah.
But why can I delete a Des Moines with my Minotaur, yet the Yamato at the same range is going to overpen him? It's a difference between firing football-sized shells to the side of it as opposed to, what is it, yoga balls? One of those should be doing more damage than the other, and you don't need an engineering degree to figure out which one's going to put the bigger goddamn hole in the ship.
Right. Yeah.
Bring back floods.
Floods on overpins?
Yeah.
It was a thing back in the day.
Floods on pens. And they said before, it was too much damage. Who cares? We're on the dot meta. Give it back to me. You want me to overpen? That shell still went through the water. At
this point in time in the game, I think that they can take a look back at some of the mechanics that they found that was too good back in the day or too strong back in the day, and look at the mechanics again. I think that overpins causing floods, it might be a good idea. Some of these DDs that are taking the full pin damage, the kebab, the hairy gumbo, they still take full pin battleship damage. The Friesland, in its initial instance, took full pin damage. Now that doesn't, which is a good thing because that boat needs all the help it can get.
Yeah.
Which is besides the point. Guys, we're hanging out with my man Khreegor. You guys can hit him up over at _Khreegor over on the Twitter. Twitch.tv/Khreegor. I'm Sir Venom IK. You guys can hit me up at Sir_Venom_IK or right here, Twitch.tv/Sir Venom IK for you guys are watching on YouTube. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that we're talking about today, like I said, this is an informal cast. We're just kind of sitting there having a conversation. So feel free to pipe in with anything that you guys have to say, and we will address that toward the end of the show with the Q&A section. So if you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them in the chat right here, twitch.tv/SirVenomIK, and we will get to those toward the end of the show. So those mechanics, the flooding mechanics, I think that would be coming back. That would be a very nice thing because battleships right now, I talk a lot about battleships, but I'm not really a battleship main. I think I have a very nice even split in between all the random games that I play between all three classes, and don't even get me started about CVs. But I have a nice split on them, and I've played the Zows and all of the tier 10 cruisers to whatever fruition. The only one that I haven't really dipped into much is the Hindenburg because everything else is just better than the Hindenburger.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, Hindi got power crept hard with the IFHE changes, the legendary modules coming in, and then the Love the Honorary got really. It took it from the top of the pile, like it was king of the hill.
Yeah, for a long time.
To be, it's a port queen for most people anymore.
Well, they buff. They if you guys don't know what the buff they're talking about, they buffed the reload on the Henry. And then they nerfed the Hindenburg reload. But then they've since gone back and kind of swapped it back to where the Henry got a half a second nerf and the Hindenburg got a half a second buff.
And if I remember right, originally the Henri, none of the French line had the reload booster. That came as a change to the line later. It wasn't one of the release, if I remember correctly.
Well, the reload booster, what do you think of the reload booster?
I like it. I think I would like to see maybe a 1.5 second reload delay put on the back end of it. So, thoughts on this one? If I get a 6 second reload boost,
okay,
after it wears off, for the next 6 seconds after that, or however long it is, put a delay on my reload. Essentially, I told my crew, double time, get it going. Now they're tired. Put a penalty to the back end of it. Not everything has to be a buff with no back end to it. You know.
Well,
if you suddenly start working double time, you're gonna burn out quicker.
Yeah.
Give me a penalty for it.
Yeah.
Every time
the barrels,
put a half-second delay on my guns. So once I burn through 4 of them, now I'm at an extra 2 second delay because my gun crews are like, "Fuck, dude, we're tired."
Yeah. Well, it's not even that they're tired. The gun barrels might be fucking hot as shit.
Yeah,
I mean that's the way that they could justify it. If you fire any more, you're gonna lose your fucking turret. It's gonna go down, and we're gonna have to repair it. Once it's that's a perfect counter. You want to use one of these things, fine, but you can't use your guns for 10 seconds after you're done. You can't shoot for 10 seconds. Period. All of your things, you don't get any punishment. You know how sometimes you get shot at and it knocks out your turret, and then you get shot at again, and it destroys the turret for the rest of the game. Make it to where you can't use it. Make it to where it's been shut down. You can hit your repair party if you want to get it right back up, but that's your risk. But no, I totally agree. If you have the reload, there should be something down the line to punish these things. Okay, fine, you can use it, but now you can't use your guns for 10 seconds, and it's going to look exactly like they've been knocked out for just a short amount of time or disabled.
Yeah.
I think
honestly,
that would be a good balance.
That should be reviewed for any ship that can get at or below a 5 second reload. After a certain amount of salvos, you either need to give it a 5 second, 10 second break, whatever it is, for your barrels to cool off, however they want to do it.
Yeah.
Just some kind of a balance. I think one of the craziest things I saw during testing I got into a match with your SAT score when we were testing the Colbert and the Smolensk, and I watched him do 3 rainbow arcs back and forth, just holding down the trigger before the very first shell hit the water.
Yeah.
He just full 180 arced back and forth, and the shells were still flying because of the range on that thing and the reload speed. And it was hadn't tested the Colbert. First day we got him, popped in, saw that, and went, "You have got to be kidding me."
This also goes into the meta now. We were talking about the meta of battleships, the way that they were playing. Let's go into the cruisers, the way that the cruisers are playing. This is an HE spam fest right now. Smolensk, Colbert, Friesland is part of that. The Harry Gumbo has been part of that for a long time. The Kinikaze, the Akizuki has been part of that.
The Daring,
the Daring, the Worcester, the Seattle to a certain extent, and the Minotaur is still spammy. And you know what was funny about the Minotaur? I remember when it first came out, or when it was first doing its testing, it had fucking HE on it, and they said it was too fucking strong.
Yeah.
And yet we get to Worcester not long after that. Well,
yeah, I'm
about
still
a year
trying
and
to
a half
figure out how the Smolensk and Colbert are now considered balanced, yet the Kutuzov and the Belfast are still considered imbalanced.
The spreadsheet angel said, guys, I'm working on, just FYI, I'm working on that emote, the spreadsheet angel emote. We got that.
Please send me the Excel logo with wings.
Well, I mean, that's copyrighted material, but no, it's we have something working, so trust. Thank you, Atrox, for that. But anyway, that is the meta. I mean, I honestly think that the strongest things in this game right now are cruisers. Period. There's no two questions about it. Cruisers have so much impact on the game. Unless I'm really going to piss people off with this statement. Unless you're a super purple unicorn, cruisers have more impact. If you're a super purple unicorn, all you're giving a shit is about your stats. So I don't really care about what those guys have to say. Isn't that a bad thought?
No. No, when they don't care about working with their team or team play, they only care about their own numbers, their own shininess in a team game. Fuck them.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, yeah, you can do all this damage, fine, but how effective are you at winning those games? And it's like, it's all great and well and good, and I'll be honest with you, I would rather have that 50 to that 60 to 70, 60 to 65% win rate guy that's yellow or blue or something like that, because he's willing to work and throw his boat away to win a game. I'm going to push into this because we have to stop this push. Hurry up and get the fuck over here. I would be more willing to play with that guy than the guy sitting back at 18 kilometers, not going into that cap because he wanted to get his 300,000 damage game, or he wanted to save his PR rating. I'm sorry, guys, it's not all about the stats here. And I have very little respect for that type of player. Now, not all of them are like that, but some of them are. So
yeah.
it's very frustrating.
You don't even have to play for the team. Just play for the damn objective. I still
play
to
for
this
the
day
win.
say my absolute
Play for the win.
Worst match ever was 210 or 215,000 damage in a Harry Gumbo. It was insane numbers. All I did was sit behind a rock and hold down my button while chatting with chat. Because I had a Yamato who couldn't figure out backing up and moving forward. It's not going to mess with me.
Yeah.
I'm aimed into the center of your ship. All you're doing is spreading my fires up and down.
Yep.
Burning through all of his repairs, all of his heals, never took the cap, never left my spot, did absolutely nothing for the game. Numbers-wise, PR rating-wise, I look fucking amazing. I was the most useless ship on my game. I'm not stopping the Yamato from clapping the 2 cruisers that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not grabbing caps like I should be. But my numbers look good. Yeah. I got fires flying out there, but
you guys win the game?
If I'm not going to help the team, no. We actually thankfully lost that match. It was close, though. Wait. Did we win that one? No, we lost. The Worcester game, I did the same thing just to, again, prove that just because I can put up big damage numbers doesn't mean I'm helping. That one we won. And I felt bad because I even took number 1. I had so much damage. Doing the same thing. I just parked, had 2 battleships in range, 3 fires. I just sat there and didn't do anything. I'm like, wow, my damage numbers are going up. I'm going to look great at the end of this.
Yeah.
Guarantee you I'm going to get number 1.
Yeah, but we lost. I got number 1. I remember a game I had with, it was in the Flint. And we were playing on Haven, and that's not a boat. That's not a map that Flint does well on because their islands are way high, and you can't really nut up to those islands very well to get over those, right? So I think that it's a interesting game where we ended up losing the game. I had 7 fucking kills, 200. I had a 2,200 point loss, 2,200 base experience loss, and because everybody else died, and I was sitting there in the middle of the board, just hammering people that were slowly rolling into me battleship wise. We lost the game because there wasn't enough people playing the objective. The next guy closest to me was 900. That's how bad it was. And I'm like, I can do the damage, but I can't do it by myself. It's 100% a team game, and so I understand. I understand being. I want to win the game, man. I want to play to win the game. If that means that I got to go out there and I got to do nothing but keep spots, like playing the khreegor with torpedo reloader and just area deniability DD, and doing 5,000 damage a game, and that's all I could. That's all I could manage. But we win the game. I would be more apt to take that 5,000 damage game and the win versus the 200,000 damage game and the loss, because I want that win.
Yeah. I play to have fun, and I have fun winning. Like, why do I want to get in and try and put in the effort? Just watch lose. Like, that's just discouraging. That's not fun. Losing on occasions, if you had a great game and you still lost, but your team tried and it was a close match, God, I love those games. Like, those, I don't mind losing. Like, I still feel good when it's over because the team was coordinated. We were trying to play the objectives. Each side had maybe 2 or 3 ships left. Like, that's a damn good game to me, win or loss. But
Yeah.
when you're just getting steamrolled because your team's just, 6-tap that W key and play like they're playing against the damn bots they learn from, like, that's
Playing co-op.
That's not fun to me. Or they're just sitting there raging in chat, armchair admiraling me from, the A1 corner because, I've got a plane that'll extend my gun range. Ooh. Why don't you get your ass up here and put your hit points on the line like the rest of us?
Yeah. Yeah, they're. I've seen a lot of that more often now. People are going to the outside and they want to run their mouth, and it's usually not to stat shame people, but it's usually the lower caliber players that are doing that, thinking that they have the idea, and one of our clanmates has made this comment in the past that it's always the military clan tag. USMC or you name it, the Army clan tags, or those people have these jilted or jaded idea that they are having control, and they tend to be some of the worst players in the game. And it's nothing against the clan tag or whatever, but that's just the way that we perceive it. These people that are in this clan tag. I don't know what it is. They want to run their mouth, and like I had this the other day when I was doing one of my wins of the day during the
snowflake thing,
the regrind. The
Oh,
the
I'm not even doing it.
research bureau. I went and I played a couple of games in a boat, and I was playing well, but the teams weren't really doing well for me. So we weren't winning. So I was like, fuck this. I'm just going to go into co-op and, free XP the rest of the ship and get out of it. And I went in there, and this guy had this military clan tag. Guys, I'm going to go out to the flank. And I need you guys to push in on B because they're going to be right there. And I was like, motherfucker, it's co-op. It's fucking co-op, dude. Why are you giving us all this admiralty to telling everybody what to do? It's fucking co-op. Wow, I just want to win the game. I was like, it's fucking co-op. Like, literally,
you
you
have
could
to try to lose.
Exactly.
In co-op.
Like I go in, we go into the game. Here's how co-op works, guys. You go in, everybody runs into the middle. Maybe you'll have one ship that'll go to one other cap, but everything else goes right to the middle. The DDs pop their smoke and they roll right through their smoke. The cruisers come into that smoke and they roll right through the smoke. And then all you do is literally you go in there, you shit on the co-op bots, you die, and then go play another goddamn co-op game and get that one out of the way. Literally, that's all you have to do. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. They don't even dodge. You know the channel they're going to take. So you just fling a wall of torpedoes in there if you've got them.
Well, they do dodge.
And call it a free win.
Yeah. I mean, it's co-op, guys. It's co-op. It's not that important. You guys are making, you guys are, there's a saying in the Navy, you're nuking it. You're thinking too hard.
Yep. Mountain out of a molehill.
and it's just it drives me batty. It drives me batty. But anyway, that I'm not allowed to. I'm not supposed to go into too much detail on that. I was told, but either way, it's co-op, guys. It's not that important. So that'll take us into the next topic. Let's go ahead and jump into the submarines. Let's go and jump into the submarines. All right. So when I say, and this goes out to everybody out there, let me your comments in the chat here as we're hanging out with my man Khreegor. When I say subs are coming in the world of warships, what does that mean? What is your initial knee-jerk reaction?
Super, so we're not fixing shit. Got it. Bad ROI. 100%.
I'll be honest with you. DDs are going to be way too busy. That's my initial reaction. That's my initial reaction. DDs are going to be way too busy. They're going to have to spot. They're going to have to cap. They're going to have to area of deniability, which they can do from capping or they can do from spotting. That's not a big deal. But now they're going to have to go hunt these things down as well. Not only that, they're going to have to hunt down the other DDs and stay alive from fucking CVs and try to just dodge CVs. You're putting even more on that player's back. And there's a lot of people out there we can already see without submarines that are dumb. That they can't even play DDs when there's not a CV in the game.
Yeah. I mean, as far as that one goes, I get the excitement for some people. Like Jive Turkey, pretty excited. I mean, that's what he did. He served on 4 different subs. Like, that's his ship. He's gonna be excited. It's kind of like the people that served on carriers were super excited when they came in. That was their thing. That was their life. They were excited for it. So I'm not going to fault them. But at the same time, again, we're just reverting back to CV pre-rework. It's a whole new mini game. There's only one ship that can counter you, and once that ship's gone, you get free reign.
Yeah. So I mean, what are you going to do? All right. So the mechanics of the thing. There's some tools that you can use. Hydro and radar does work on DDs, but if they go deep dive, it doesn't work anymore. You cannot spot that submarine if he's on a deep dive. He has to be in periscope depth or he has to be on the surface. But that's good because he can't drop his torps if he's deep diving, which doesn't make any sense to me. So you have to be in periscope depth to throw your torpedoes out there. Then let's add in the lowest common denominator, because people are stupid. Let's fuck over battleships even more, the ping mode and the homing torpedoes.
All right, so anybody out there who knows anything, because I'll be honest, I wasn't in the Navy. I have never fucking heard of a homing torpedo. Like, is that, like, I've heard of magnetic tip ones, so when they got close enough to the ship, it would help make sure the tip was going to actually hit and it wasn't going to bounce off the side of it if the ship turned or something. But I have never heard of a homing torpedo before. Have you heard of that one? I wish we had Jive or Lambo or one of the guys that I know that did sub stuff to answer that one. And I should probably just reach out to him, but what the fuck is a homing torpedo?
Well, they had, you could always get the fucking incredible Mr. Limpet to go wrong and then let the torpedo fucking go to that. I mean, sound homing torpedoes. I don't know if that's true or not, but I was in that. I was a parachute rigger, man. So
yeah, Atrox said, I know they have them now, but shit, we got missiles we can launch from LA that'll fly through a goddamn window in Afghanistan and fucking land on the coffee table if we wanted to. World War II, they were excited when we started to perfect radar.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm like. Did that even exist? Like, are we just making some shit up like a bunch of the ships? I think it goes this way. You only get 1 or 2 torpedoes per spread, right? So you're single firing your torps. So to give them a higher option of or a higher rating of actual hit value, they're making it to where it's so brain dead. All you have to do is hit these pings. Now,
Are you going to hit these pings on cruisers and DDs? Probably not. Are you going to hit these things on battleships? Sure, because they're slow as fuck. So it is another thing. Submarines over everything. You know, this is basically what's happening. It's where you have this middle circle of, you know, we've talked about it, the circle of life, battleships over cruisers over destroyers over battleships, and then you have these two outliers. You have the submarines and the CVs that just shit all over everything. So I'm interested to see when it actually comes in and plays. Are we going to be able to maneuver our battleships out of these fucking torpedoes? And if we're not, are they really going to hit 2 torpedoes for 32,000 fucking damage like we saw in the video? It was ridiculous. It caused Citadel level damages. Level damages, and they're like, well, we'll have to wait till testing. When somebody asked about it during the chat, that's a lot of damage. And it's like, well, we'll have to see what happens when the players get their hands on it. And I'm like, dude, you literally just hit 32,000 damage on this fucking boat. Can you not see that that's a little bit much? Why would you have to wait till the testing and put it out there where people are complaining and moaning about this to realize that it's broken? It's a little much.
One word for you, sir. Hawk.
Spreadsheet. Hawk what?
They released the Hawk. What happened there?
The hack?
It took somebody going, oh, I know how to exploit this.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
300 plus thousand, 400,000. And you know, hey, air shimikaze, let's go. I mean, I don't understand why it takes them so long to make those changes. I think they're beholden to a spreadsheet a little bit too much. Spreadsheet Jesus says it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. My stance currently is I have no intention of playing them. I think it's that bad of an idea. I will not create content around it. I will treat them the same way I do CVs now, which is they're there. I ignore them. Like, I have no control over if I can defend myself. I dodge the torps the best I can when they fire them.
Yeah.
But other than that, I treat their dive bombers like, you know, shells coming in from a ship. Once they're in and they're that close, I can't dodge them anymore. Just kind of ignore them.
It's kind of you know, we've been playing CVs lately, and I tell you what, dude, CVs used to be interesting to me. Now they're just boring.
See, I love the new visual. I like the gameplay for them. I like the steering on them. But then again, before, and this will probably be a segue, before they essentially screwed the pooch with warplanes and put in a system there, which we now have in ships. So excited for that one. I love playing the crap out of it. You know, I played ground attackers mainly. So, you know, dropping in and lining up my shots on the ships. When we were early testing, I'm like, this is great. And we actually had a version where the rockets didn't do a ton of damage. Shooting them at destroyers was pointless because their main damage was focused towards modules. So I could strip the AA off of Yamato. It would take me 2 or 3 flights.
Yeah.
But then I could bring in my torpedo planes. I had to commit an investment into taking that big ass ship out.
I think that would have been. I think that was a better mechanic for the game.
Later, everything that was starting to feel balanced and fun and can be good, right the hell out the window into the wood chipper because there was no more columns on the spreadsheet. You
know what's interesting about that? We talked about this last week, but they had a mechanic for AA that was actually getting pretty decent. You were still getting drops off. You still had to pay attention to who you were dropping on because of one AA rating above the other one. Oh, that wasn't me. I was like, what the hell was that notification? But that was you, not me.
You know, Windows likes to stick that shit out there whenever it feels like it.
And they had it to where I thought it was getting to be pretty fair. You know, you sectored your guy, you sectored your dudes, and they did the job that they were supposed to do. But then they scrapped it, and I was like, holy shit, now we're back to square one again on AA. You know, and right now it's a joke. It's a joke again. And I'm like, what in the world? I don't get it. And I don't, was the sectoring worse than what we have sectoring now? I mean, it's a lot easier now. I'll be honest with you. It's a lot easier to sector my fucking planes, but like this whole bursting AA shit, it's kind of weird. And if you put on that fucking module, you get an instant burst for like 2 seconds, and then you're right back to 0 and waiting for this next burst for an extra long cooldown. I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, so these boats, all right, so
Yeah.
now we're taking off modules and now we're not having to spec out full AA specs on these specs anymore. It's like, who cares anymore? It's like I'm really just ready to give up on CVs. Just take them out of the game at this point because they're not fun to play for me. And I'm sure there's people out there that do enjoy them. They're not fun to play. They're very boring. You really don't have much of an impact on the game anymore unless you're hunting DDs. That's it. That's literally the only impact that you have. And then you're just an annoying little gnat on the wall until the end of the game when you can't, you become actually effective when there's
Yep.
less AA on the board.
So you'll appreciate this one. Sectoring. Hate the idea of it. While we were in Anaheim, when some of the people of Luigi Persuasion were standing around, I actually asked the main tour person there, I'm like, so I'm curious, that was where the Beaufort mounts were, right? He goes, yeah. I'm like, so planes are coming in from that way. Did that gun crew have to get off their gun to run over here and help reinforce this gun? And he went, no, why the hell would they do that? The plane's going to cross over. Like, I don't know if you guys actually sectored or not, if it was just some stupid fucking idea somebody came up with. And I walked away after asking it, making sure it heard. Because it's like, at no point is the captain going to go, okay, everybody from the right side of the ship run to the left side of the ship. And man, what? The guns were already manned. You had the crew you needed for the guns. You didn't leave half your guns empty unless you sectored it.
There was plenty of people. All right, so the way the U.S. Navy mans their ship is there's always more people than needed. Just in case somebody goes down, there's always somebody else there, right? There's been, but those Beauforts, unless they're on the legit side of the boat, could go 360 degrees.
Yeah, they spin.
Yeah,
that's why the whole sectoring thing. I'm like, why? The gun should just automatically be firing that way anyway. If it's one of the caliber or style guns that can 360 spin, I shouldn't have to tell the ship to do it. They should naturally be trying to defend itself.
Yeah. Oh, I tend to agree. They should. I don't like the sectoring bit at all. But then you get back into the old school way of the AA mechanic, to where it was a dice roll. You either hit or miss, and if you hit, you shot a plane down. If you missed, then you didn't. And more often than not, you missed. You missed then hit, and except on certain boats where that were quote unquote AA boats with ratings above 80, then you could actually hit consistently. There was no consistency to the old school AA system, and I'm starting to see that no consistency with this system either. Even on the good AA boats, tier 8 and above, the good AA boats, there's no consistency. I'm at tier 8, and I'm getting a Ryujo from tier 6 coming in. My Cleveland should theoretically shit all over the Ryujo's planes, and he should not even been able to get a drop on me. But yet, I'm still getting hit by rockets. I'm still getting hit by bombs.
Yeah. So that would go back to what we talked about earlier, giving the ships the roll so everything's not stacked on one. Before the rework, if I'm in a non-AA ship, one that's weak to AA, I knew, make sure that I've got cruisers on at least 2 or 3 sides of me the best I can to create some kind of a screen to chew up some on their way in, to where I have a little bit better of a chance. They may only get they're not going to have as many planes coming in. I had to rely on my cruisers. Or if I was in an AA battleship, I knew I could be a little more adventurous on it. I didn't have to worry about it. The CBs, okay, they've got these AA cruisers. I need to figure out where they're at. So they're going to play back. They're not going to be flying across the map like they do right now, alpha striking your destroyers off the map, because they didn't know where the Cleveland was. They didn't know where the Minotaur was parked. They had to wait to get the intel. All that fear has been removed. Destroyers will now rush battleships. CVs just zip across the map right out the gate. There's no cohesion, and it goes back to, why are we sectoring? Put it how it was before. It worked for the most part, other than CVs were just crazy strong. So just tweak the numbers on it. Mm-hmm. Don't try and create a whole new fancy mechanic to solve the problem.
Well, and that therein lies the other problem, where we were getting to where it was actually consistent again, and we were actually seeing some numbers when it first came out. The AA sucked, and you were able to get all these damages on CVs. Then the AA was too strong, and then it was a little bit too strong. A little bit weak, but you still could get some. Then it was a little bit too strong, but you still had a little bit of weakness in there. And then it was kind of right in the middle, and then they threw it away. They threw the whole system out. So now they're back to
Yeah.
square one. So we have another at least 3 or 4 more changes to AA before they actually set it up. Before they throw that one out too. I mean, it's like I'm. And and here's the thing that really frustrates me with the whole thing is they didn't even try to balance the fucking AA before they scrapped the whole project. At the beginning, they didn't even try. They were like, "Nope, it's fucked up. We're changing the old thing. Our CV rework is gone." Boom. And they didn't even try to change the AA at all. For those 2 years that I played before the CV rework, or 3 years that I played before the CV rework, dang, man. That's insane.
Like I said, early phases of testing, it was feeling really good. Like, I was pretty 50-50 on how I thought it was going to work out, because I can see it go really bad or really good. And the whole time, bloggers tell me, dude, just wait. I can't do anything. You're going to like it. Just wait. Give it a shot. And I think him and I spent one day just 8 hours just alternating. Who's the surface ship? Who's the CV? After we got a couple, we got the rounds of testing, and we're like, okay, this is feeling good. The AA is a little strong, and they were tweaking. I'm like, all right, this looks positive. Then that is not what we got. What came out? It was like, what happened to everything we just spent a month behind, the curtain with the Wizard of Oz man back there testing? That this is what we just got out of it. Like, this doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Are they dumbing it down because people didn't understand it? Or it was too hard for people to pick up?
They just threw the balance out the window. And don't even get me started on
there's
AP
a lot
bombs.
of
Whoever decided
I still
AP bombs are a good idea should be punched in whatever bits they have until they can't walk straight.
Be careful.
Like,
we're not going to call for any actions here. Don't do that, guys. Don't go punching anybody.
Don't punch anybody in the bits. Metaphorically punched in the bits. Not literal.
That's right. That's guys. If you guys
punch them in their metaphorical bits.
You guys want
them in the spreadsheet.
You guys want to punch me in the bits? Go ahead and drop a Subway and then the cheer right now for an extra 10%. If you guys want to punch me in the bits, or punch me with bits.
No, I'm just kidding. For $1,000, bikini stream with bit kicking. Just kidding.
So there's a big disconnect. I think that. I think that Wargaming has this plan, and I know going back to the submarines, and there's been some talk about how they were going to release it. They said that they learned their lesson from the CV rework, as they just kind of threw it out there, and it was either sink or swim. Technically, really sink or swim here, and I think that they said that for the first couple of months that submarines, it's going to be in its own game mode, and then it's going to adapt itself into the regular fold of the game. I think that submarines should only ever be in their own game mode, but only ever a couple of months at a time, because submarines in the main game, man, can you imagine random battles with 3 submarines on the enemy team?
I give it a month, and we're going to be testing those things on the live regular in randoms. Because people are going to burn out after the first couple of days. They're not going to get the numbers they need.
I think a lot of people are going to quit.
Force it out there.
And look, I've never been one to throw up the fucking pitchforks and shit and say this is the end of the game. I'm not going to do that because it's not the end of the game. This game will continue to go on until they A, either sell the company, or B, shut down their own servers. That's the only time. But
yep.
I can already tell, and I can already see a lot of people wanting to leave the game that have said now whether they're going to or not, whether they have actually going to, they said that they're going to leave the game when subs come in, because they don't think that subs have a business in this game. With the way that the game was originally designed, the subs don't fit that design. The CVs didn't fit that design either, and yet we have the CVs still.
Yeah. And the only reason I'm saying a month is because when we weren't getting enough people on PTS to test the CVs, they went, okay, we need a bigger pool.
Yeah.
Here. I don't think they're going to get the pool they need. I think they're going to come out not finished or
still work in
balanced
progress
as best they can do with them. I mean, that's my biggest concern. I mean, if they can get these things balanced, they can get them to flow with the system, awesome. Like, I'm never going to tell a developer, stop putting new things into the game. Because as soon as you do that game's going to get stagnant, that is what will kill a game.
Yeah.
But
oh, well,
if all you're doing is bigger.
Yeah. Let's be fair.
Don't get so big.
Humans are creatures of habits. And when anything changes, people tend to throw a fit about it. And I understand that. And I'm very adamant about trying to, once I get something mastered, then they shift the way the game is played, albeit with either a line release or a mechanic change. They shift the whole mechanics of the game around, so I have to go and relearn everything again. And that's kind of frustrating for somebody, but I totally get it. I totally understand, and I have a feeling that we're in store for another shift again. Maybe it's the subs coming out that I'm relating this to, but I wanted to ask you about this next thing. This is rumor mill. Rumor mill, guys, put your tinfoil hat theory on, right? Tinfoil hat on.
Got it on.
They're in the process of bringing out another CV line, and this will be the smoke buoys, the hydro buoys, the support CV line with minimal attacking ability. Maybe they give them just rocket planes and that's all they can do. But then they have these support style things to go help with some of the sub spotting, because if you don't have a DD in your game, which what's going to happen here? What do you think of this? Oh, there goes my camera. What do you think of this, Khreegor? Sorry about that, guys. Its camera's on its own. It has its own mind today. When submarines come out, when CVs are out there, what does it generally take away from the rest of the game? It takes away DDs. The DD players, it either takes away a battleship or it takes away a DD. It very rarely takes away a cruiser, because there's a lot of games out there with 6 or 7 cruisers every game. You'll see it. Start counting them, boys. When you put out new instances, the cruiser players aren't changing to go play something else. It's the DD player that's changing to go play something else. So when the subs come out, you're going to see a lot of people. You're going to see a lot of games with subs with 1 DD. You're going to have 2 and 3 subs in the game and only 1 DD.
So here's my thought. My biggest concern with that one is, with the current way matchmaking works, you have to have a carrier to counter our carrier, or those carriers don't go into a match. If you take a Hakuryu and I take, the Buoy Laviska or whatever they're going to be called, if those come in, again, tinfoil hat. So my team has a support one to track your one submarine that made it in the match, or possibly none, and you got a full assault loadout. As soon as they announced subs, and only DDs are going to be able to track it, my first thing was, give me a third type of plane on the current CVs that has that role.
Well,
so now the CV can play both a support or assault role, because back in the day, they would just either launch a different plane, they pull a different one up from the hold, or depending on the plane, swap its loadout.
Right.
Before it went back out. I mean, and they can swap loadouts. I mean, look at Pearl Harbor. We survived a little bit longer in that one, better than we could have, because couldn't decide which loadout for the second flight. Do we swap to bombing these things? Do we go back up to the torpedoes? And they delayed too long.
Yeah. I think that adding another plane isn't going to be the answer. I think that they have the Bogue, they have the Independence, they have the Essex, they have all these models all ready to go. All ready to put into the game. So it's really not going to take much on Wargaming's part to just swap out planes or swap out the mechanics. So I think that instead of putting an extra plane, they just bring out a whole new carrier line, and then they're going to have to readjust the way supporting things experience-wise is there.
So would you, again, tinfoil hat, pure
tinfoil hat. This is all speculation. This is just
all speculation.
Yeah.
We're fantasizing. We're playing
Devil's Advocate.
Warships and Dragons. It's like D&D, but cooler. Would you tier lock CVs more so than they are. So
What do you mean
tier
by
5
tier
CV
lock?
only 5. Then your 6 is, whatever. What is, we have
No, no,
odd
no,
number
no,
now, or we have
no. It's
we have
not.
even
It's not going to
number.
go that way, Krieger. It's not going to go that way because it will be the Bogue will drop down to 4. The Independence will stay at 6, and whatever the 7 will go to 8, and then
But
9 will
how do
go to 10.
you balance a pure support CV against a so a support versus an assault? Do you think the support CV would be a detriment to his team because he doesn't have the torpedo option, the
No,
dive bomber option?
I
He
don't.
has
I don't think
just
it's.
rockets and buoys.
I don't think it's a detriment to the team. It'll only spot more people for your. Sorry, my family's coming home and my dogs are going crazy. If you guys are hearing that barking, they what happens is the majority of the games when you have CVs, they're only there for spotting for the first 20 minutes, the first 8 or 9 minutes of the game anyway. They do very minimal damage because of all the AA and everybody sitting back so far, right? And they're all pretty much grouped together.
Yeah.
So I think that in the early part of the game, it's going to be fine for them, and they're going to be really strong. For the later part of the game, then they're not going to be as strong because all they're there is to facilitate the rest of the team doing damage. That's like when I'm playing a DD and I know I'm outgunned by a lot of these other DDs, I'm going to spot and facilitate the damage that my other team does, or the rest of my team does. It's like, especially for an example, during the last rank season when we're on Trident, I take my Z46 to the back end of that island and I hydro whatever's sitting there trying to camp it out, and I'm facilitating the rest of my team doing damage, sacrificing my own damage just so I can get those guys out of the game. So I think that is a mental role that a player will have to take. Yes, you will still have maybe a fraction of the drops. What the Enterprise has got, like a bajillion planes in a squadron, so you got half a bajillion planes in that squadron, but you can still do a little bit of damage, and they're going to hit harder because you don't have that ability to put out that many planes.
So, just to keep giving you a hard time, because now I'm enjoying myself a little bit here too much.
But you're supposed
But
to.
I like where you're going with this one. My follow up to that, then, and this again, it all goes back to having a balance and do it properly, is when I'm low on, we'll say rockets, because that's the one we use for an example,
Fair
right?
enough.
So I'm low on my assaults. I'm waiting for the squadron to refill.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to get more XP than the average I would for spotting and spotted damage, since I'm now having to rely on that, where the normal assault CV goes, shit, I'm low on rocket planes. Let's load up some dive bombers. All right, those are a little low. Let's go and grab the torpedo. So I'm getting those damage numbers up, which is what most of your purple
Generally
unicorns
CVs
or
do.
most of your experience is really based off of.
Right. Spotting damage has always been a contention. Spotting damage and capping. During the first, my second rank season ever was a tier 7 rank season, and it was Captain Save a Star, because it was all you had to do literally in that season to save your star was to go cap and do about 10 or 15,000 damage. That's it. That's literally all you had to do to save your star. So they changed the way the mechanics work, or they changed the experience gain on caps based all around the Sims alone. They have not yet run a tier 7 full rank season since then. So they've kind of screwed the DDs for the rest of the rank seasons because of that. And so I think that if you go back to that and you give these spotting damages buff, I still personally think in the real game that spotting and tanking needs to be rewarded a lot more than it is.
Yeah.
And
I think they need to look at what's going well for some of the XP model in World of Tanks, their own title, where spotting damage in the light tanks, the tanks version of ADD, is huge. Like you're really not expected to shoot until the very end, or if you catch another light tank off guard, your job is to zip out there, get in a bush, get in an advantageous position, and just sit there and light up that part of the map for your team. So your artillery, your heavy tanks, your mediums can all do their jobs and put out the damage, and you get rewarded accordingly. Like you don't feel like you're putting yourself behind.
now
As a destroyer, you feel like if you're not putting out torpedoes, you're not putting out shots, you're not rushing into the cap, you're just trying to keep the enemy team lit. Doesn't matter how
you don't
much
do anything. That goes back to what I was saying about the Kagero. You have they're playing through the Kagero and the Yugamo. I was playing it with smoke, and I was doing a little bit. Then I just really didn't enjoy myself. I didn't really enjoy the playstyle until I got that, oh my god, butt clenching moments every game when I took off the smoke and put on the torpedo reloader. Now it becomes more risky for me, and I really enjoyed that. I barely fired my guns during that thing, and it was a very hard conscious effort on my part to not open up on that guy that's full health, to open up on that guy that had 5,000 health left, because I can pretty much guarantee that I'm going to be able to kill him, take a little bit of damage, and then go back dark and continue the spotting process. So I would have games that if I was hitting torpedoes, I'd have 150,000 damage, but I also had those 5,000 damage games. But we won because I had 2 caps, 3 caps, and I had a little bit of spots. I think that those experiences of 800 experience for 5,000 games could have and should have been a lot more, because I literally kept half of their team on spot the entire game.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it gets rewarded enough. I've preached that every time I've been on here, every time we do shooting the ships. I want to see ships rewarded for their role, not just their damage numbers. Damage numbers matter. I mean, if you're not killing the enemy team, they're not afraid to move away from the cap, you're not going to win. But I think what you're shooting, or what you're shooting at, what kind of spotting you're providing, the caps, all that should play more of an equal role, not just, ooh, look at my giant shiny numbers.
Look at my damage, yeah. Well, there still needs to be some kind of emphasis on damage, because that is, that's the game. That's the game, and I totally get that, and I understand that is the game, and that's the way that it is rewarded now. But you also got to reward the support. The only problem I see with rewarding support is, how do you read intent? How does an AI read your intention? I'm typing into somebody, hey, Venom, how's it going? Oh, man, I'm all right. And I absolutely, accidentally fat finger that smoke because I didn't push the enter button, and I'm typing. And we've all seen it. You're typing and you fat finger your smoke. Mm-hmm. We see it. That guy rolls into that smoke. The battleship rolls through that smoke and gets a death strike, from 17 kilometers away. How do they reward that for you? There's a hard thing when we are talking about buffing the rewarding on. Are you intending to spot this guy? I mean,
exactly.
You can't. It's such a hard thing to do. So I think that's why they just haven't done it.
But I think if they made the shift, then yes, the destroyer at that point would be intending. So, again, fictitious numbers. These probably will never happen. But if you rewarded it, again, just making up numbers, destroyers and CVs, 60% of their experience is going to come from spotting damage, and 40% from actual damage done, and spotting and caps, because they can cap better than anybody else. You need them in there. So 60% is based off their spotting and their cap, 40% off of damage. Cruisers, you get more of a 50-50 split, because they need to be up there creating vision and damage. Battleships is the flip. They've got the big guns. They're not going to be up front spotting, especially now with the damn AP change, with the overpens. Theirs is 60% damage, 40% spotting. So if they're putting up those big damage numbers, like I expect, a GK with the secondaries, the North Carolina, like I 100% with you, tier for tier, best battleship in the game. If it's putting up the numbers it needs to, it should get rewarded for taking those big ass guns and maybe give a little bit for potential. Yeah, well, I may not have intended to lose half my ship's health. The fact I was absorbing shots give me a little bit something for it, So you can almost split the spotting and the tanked damage on that one. But I think if the destroyers were rewarded for spotting, they're gonna go out of their way to provide the vision. If I'm incentivized to do something, I am way more likely to do it than just do it because your class is better at it. Why? I can sit back here and HE spam on my smoke and my Gumo, not care about it. I can, grab a cap and 10K in my Sims and laugh on my way out as I'm saving my start, because I don't have to do anything else.
And this is where you see Ashios, people play the Ashio, or people play the Shimikaze, or they play these really, really low detectability boats going out to the 10 line and going around the outside to flank, because that's the only way that they think that they can be successful with their damage, to successful with their team. Whereas you have a 5.4 kilometer detectability. Use that shit. That's your big advantage over everything else, and you've got some really badass guns on the Ashio.
Yep.
And
but they get the biggest reward by doing that flank,
for doing
and sending
that flank,
a wall of 20k kilometer torps across the enemy's flank over and over and over. They don't get it by playing the objectives, which gets the win.
Which now there's a comment in the chat, and I want to address this comment right now. Marza Lewicki says at ServantMIK, so more experience for the battleship that may have died with 70k damage, but has a potential of 2 to 3 million potential damage, and less or equal to the guy with 150k and only 300,000 potential damage. And I say yes, simply for the fact that if I'm not tanking that 2 to 3 million and everybody's not shooting at me, you don't get that 150k damage, because they're probably going to be taking shots at you instead. So I think that, yes, absolutely reward that guy for tanking the 2 to 3 million damage, and that guy says thank you for tanking that damage for me, because if not, if it's a Zal's a good boat and it's pretty wiggly, but if it gets touched, it could get pretty murdered. So I totally agree.
Yeah, well, and with it being a percentage balance, if it's 60% is based off your damage, 40% is based off of spotting and potential, you know what? That guy who did 150,000 and tanked 1.5 million is going to get more than that idiot, on the one line with his repub trying to snipe from the back that may have put up 215,000. Because you know what? He didn't take candy damage. He didn't do any of the extra things that bumps that experience number. He wasn't really helping the team. Great, you did a bunch of damage to one other ship that was dumb enough to stay in your range. Cool. That battleship that came up and relieved pressure for his destroyers, relieved pressure for his cruisers, because everybody's like, oh Lord, I got a GK inside a secondary range looking at me. He's putting in the effort to be the team player and utilize the boat the way it's designed. Therefore, he should be rewarded over the guy who sits in back and just tries to crank up his PR with big damage numbers.
Totally agree. And this is all speculation. This is all something we would like to see.
All tinfoil hat.
All tinfoil hat theories. This is nothing.
I'm going to make a tinfoil hat, by the way. Before I come on next time, I'm going to actually go on Amazon and find a tinfoil silver hat. So when we get to the spot, I can swap out hats when we're on. I think it'll be awesome.
That's the rumor, man.
If they're cheap enough, I'm going to send you one as well.
You should, man. You should. I would wear it. I would probably wear it normally, but that's neither here nor there. Guys, let's go ahead and move into our main topic for the day, as we're hanging out with my man, Mr. Khreegor. You guys can hit him up over at _Khreegor over at Twitter. You guys go stop by his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Khreegor. Go check out his channel there. Go give him a follow and watch him and sub up to him and support him, because he's a good dude. You guys can hang out right here at twitch.tv/SerVenomIK, or you guys can hit me up for any questions, comments, or concerns at Sir_Venom_IK. Now, we do have some questions right now toward the Q&A session after this next topic. So if you guys have any more comments or anything about what we're talking about today, please feel free to go ahead and throw them into the chat at SerVenomIK here, so we can comment. We'll answer your questions or as best as we can. All right. So let's talk about the big topic for the day is mentality. Mentality for the game. All right, mentality for the game. Just a little bit of background. I've got over 14,000 games. I've ranked out every season since I first started playing. My very first ranked season, I ranked out. Varying degrees of success on those rank out games. So I've seen a lot. I know Khreegor's been around for a long time. Tell them about your background real quick in the game.
I think I'm a little over 5,000 or 6,000 now. I typically don't rank out. I usually will grind up to about 5 or 6, right when you just really hit that toxic wall, and it just kills the fun for me at that point.
Everybody's toxic wall is different, but yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, it just gets the point. Well, let me rephrase that. So usually I'm playing it on stream. And when I hit that wall, my hyper competitiveness comes in and my toxicity will start to come out. And I pride myself on trying to keep it as low sodium as possible as I can, and not being a toxic douche waffle, because I can't stand playing with those people.
Douche waffles.
Oh, yeah, douche waffles.
It's been a while since I heard that. I've heard
Fun.
it
I love
before.
me some rank sprints. I think I've only missed one rank sprint, and that's because it started right before family vacation, so I didn't get a chance to actually wrap it up before the end. Um, but yeah, if every cruiser unlocked tier, I'm one battleship away from having all the battleships done. And
And you've
don't
been
ask me
playing
about
for.
destroyers. People who've watched me play destroyers go, okay, got it. So this is what I don't do. I'm like, exactly.
That's funny. Excuse me. Sorry about that. All right, I've only missed a couple of the rank sprint, some of the second tier 5 rank sprint that they did. I missed that one because I was gone. I caught the first rank sprint of it. The second one was during the TwitchCon last year, so I missed that one, and I wasn't really missing it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I had anyway. All right, so let's talk mentality for the game. Now, I have seen a shift in the mentality coming up through the ranks, coming up through the tiers over the past 3 years. And the mentality for the game is get to tier 10 as fast as we can and then just throw out nothing but tier 10s. Would you agree?
100%.
All right. Now, how people get to that tier 10 is all up to them. Would you also agree?
Yes.
All right. I have seen people playing operations, which feeds into the whole main. All right, well, stop before I go any further. What is the main purpose of this game? What is the main objective of this game, Khreegor, in your opinion?
I mean,
And for everybody out there, what is the main
game
purpose of
is
this game?
the fun and competitiveness of it would be my thought. Is it's a team-based arcade simulator, so really it's competitive. Like you're not playing Minecraft where your goal is to build the coolest base. The goal is to get the win. Beat the other team. Whether it's warships, CS:GO, Overwatch, you don't play the game to lose. The goal is to win, be competitive, and win.
So playing just for fun is not an option?
You know what? If your fun is winning, it makes sense. If your fun is, I just want to get in boats and shoot, that's what co-op's for. Because you don't care if you win or lose, but in randoms, people care if they win or lose. If you don't care about losing, co-op, operations, not random, not ranked.
Okay.
As soon as your competitor is another person, your goal is to win, not make the other guy feel good because he blapped you off the map. That should never be your goal.
Okay, I agree. I understand and I agree, but you're wrong. The main goal of this game is to grind through all the tiers and hit tier 10. That's the main goal. And everything feeds into that goal. Co-op feeds you experience. Operations feed you experience. Randoms feed you experience. Rank season, clan battles, it all feeds you experience to get to tier 10.
So the goal is to get to the end point.
To get to the end game. Right. So the end game is tier 10. And then for random players. Now, once you hit that tier 10, it's up to you what direction you would like to take the rest of your game. Do you want to take it into clan battles? Do you want to take it into rank season, whatever rank season that is, and expand your horizons through the rest of the game? Randoms are essentially in game for a lot of people. That's it. And they have no desire to get better. Once they hit tier 10, they don't give a shit about learning how to play anymore. And I think that there's been a I don't know how to say this.
Encouragement.
I wanted to call it something like how we called Submageddon is what's coming up for us. I wanted to put a big term around this, but I can't think of a term. But there's been a dumbing down of the player base over the past 3.5 years, and I think it has something to do with the way that these boats are presented and the way that these boats are released.
Yes.
Because when I first started, the first line that had come out after I started was the German battleships, and we played it, and we won 29 games that night in a row, and we got all the way up to tier 7 in one night in 29 games, and it was 300 to 400 fucking battleships in the queue. Potatofication, we want to call it potatofication. All right, we'll take that potatofication of the player base. But there was 200 and 300 tier 3 Nassaus in the game, or in the queue. And there was 400 tier 4s, and there was about 250 tier 5s in the queue.
I remember that because the German battleship line was at about 2 months before the smoke changes they came in.
It was pretty close. It was pretty close to the smoke changes. No. The German battleships. It was right before. It was either right before or right after the stealth fire nerf, because I remember it was after the stealth fire nerf, because I remember burning down in my Loyang, burning down a Bismarck because I was at 9.4 kilometers and that was stealth fire, and I burned the shit out of him, and he chased me all over that map, but he couldn't catch me. So it was anywhere in between those two changes, I think it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The problem is that they've given away so much of this line that people never learned how to play the game. They never struggled. They never sat there and said, okay, how do I get better at this so I can get my experience higher, so I can get to the next level faster? They never had to learn that. Because what happens? You start out at fucking tier 9 this time with the Mogador coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like how far they boost people up with the new round. I think I don't know. So I don't know. It was a weird one. It was a weird shift because the Germans came out. Because I can't remember if I was right before or right after the German line, and you had to grind the whole line. Like there was no freebie on it.
Yeah, there was no free.
Was weird.
And
yeah, like there was no crates around it. There was here's a new line, here's a cool event around it.
Yeah,
but you didn't get a free pass.
No,
like you do now.
No, so I think Wargaming has made a mistake. And I will be very adamant about this, and I'll be very vocal about it. They made a mistake, and I've said this a lot, by giving away half the line.
Yes.
I don't mind you if you want to give away some of the lines. There's those whales out there. There's whales out there that will free XP the entire thing because they have nothing left to use their free XP on.
Yeah.
Right? They will do this.
Yep.
Well, Wargaming has come back, and they have said that grinding through the line is not what most players want to do. They want to get to the tier 10 and then play whatever they want to. Okay?
Most players also don't want people sitting on the one line because they don't know how to play their ship. They don't want the battleship YOLOing through BCAP, but we still get it. They don't make a change for it. I think the maximum you should be able to get free out of a crate for a new line is 5. The reason for that is you still have 5 more ships you have to learn before you get to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But it keeps people like yourself, myself. If they release prime example, they release a new battleship line tomorrow. You have to start at the beginning. I feel so bad for every newbie who just got out of his safe locked matchmaking, who gets faced off against William the Dank, Static the Warmonger, potato quality. These guys are just going to be one-shot popping people. So up to 5, I understand. So your new folks coming in don't get crapped on by those of us who played so many lines that were like, this is second nature, this is easy. Because I don't want to discourage people. I want the community to grow.
Of course.
But I don't want to get a free ship all the way up to 8. So I'm like, what do I have left? 2 ships to grind? You just removed my care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is something. Now we've said it before. The cruisers start at tier 1, DD start at tier 2, and battleships start at tier 3. So I think that they can go up to 5 on battleships, 4 for cruisers, and up to 4. 3 to cruisers, and then up to 4 on destroyers. This is where I say. But you have to. In this world of instant gratification, they want to get there now. So they made it so easy. And there's an example here I'm gonna tell you here, Khreegor, and I want to get your opinion on this. They've made it so easy for people to grind it back through with flags, with extra camos, with premium time, with whatever. That we played, even when the Russian battleships came out, We played 10 games, 14 games in the tier 8 with
Mhm.
flags and camos to have over the 175,000 experience it took to get to tier 9. 10 games.
Mhm.
Now, put that into context. It took me 150 games in the Mogami when I first started playing to get to tier 9. Put
Yeah.
that into consideration. How much did I play that boat and learn how to play that boat to get through it? As
Yeah.
opposed to these new players that are coming in that have no mentality for the game, and they go through and they get to tier 10, and then all they are is a detriment to the team, and all they are is a detriment to the ranked team. Oh, let's try ranked.
Yep.
So they've done it to themselves. Wargaming has done it to the rest of the community, and we I'm gonna say we. This sounds really arrogant, but we, the 1%ers that sit here and play 8 hours a day, or six, at any point in time, 6 to 8 hours,
Mhm.
we suffer. We suffer more than those new players because they don't give a shit. They don't
Yep.
care. They're just there to have fun. I just want to have fun. Well, you know what, motherfucker? I like to win the games, and winning is fun. So don't fuck up my shit. And
Yeah.
I think that if you say things like that, man, you got a 40% win rate. You've played 200 games and you're playing in tier 10.
Yeah. That one. I can't remember how many games I was at when I first got my first tier 10, but it was sure as a hell lot higher than 200.
Dude, I had over
Like when I
2,000.
unlocked my Moskva, which was my first
Yeah.
tier 10, I was so freaking. I didn't play anything else for almost a week straight. I'm like, screw you guys. I got my Moskva. You have no idea how hard I worked for this ship. We're
Yeah.
playing the shit out of it.
Yeah. And then you realize the mosque was terrible. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah, that was before it got its armor buff. But
Yeah.
I was still excited. I
No,
still played the
absolutely.
hell out of it. Now I'm
For
like, hey guys, check it out. We're broke again. So we just unlocked 2 more tier 10s yesterday. All right, what's next? Because you can do it so fast.
yeah.
Like I actually put aside the UK destroyers, and after we got the initial boxes open, I'm like, I'm not opening anything else. I'll compete the stuff. I want to try and get as low as I can, so I can actually enjoy the grind through them. Because it's fun to play. You feel like you get an accomplishment. This everybody has to have immediate positive affirmation for every turd they take. It's just gotten old.
Come look at this, man. Looks like spreadsheet Jesus. I just crapped out spreadsheet Jesus, man. Come take a look. Come take a look, man.
All right, where is it?
Look. No, that was a joke. You didn't get the joke? You wanted positive affirmation after every shit that they take, and I was like, I shit out spreadsheet Jesus. Come take a look.
Oh, okay. I thought you actually somebody like just said because you were talking about making the spreadsheet angel.
You want to see
I
it?
was like,
Hold
oh,
on,
shit,
hold
he
on,
got the emoji.
hold
I'm
on.
like looking at this. Like, let me see it. I get the sneak peek.
I will show you my idea for spreadsheet Jesus. That's not going to be an emote, but I thought it was funny. We're going to do the Sprangel. But I will link this to you in Discord here in a second. But
Nice.
but either way, so getting back to the topic. So these people now, granted, the whole reasoning behind what I said, and it only taking me 14 games because I had camos on. I had every camo on, or I had the big, the community contributor camo on that gives you 250, and then I had all the big flags on. I had all the little flags on, so I was getting 10 to 15 to 18,000 experience per game. Now, take that to a new account that may or may not have access to some of that shit, and you know what they do because they can go buy that shit. They can go get the Admiral's pack and have all these things and or get the big flag pack. You can do all these things now, and it makes that grind way easier. Now, is that grind that's easy now for a new player to come in? Does it actually teach them the proper way to play the game?
So, here's a question for you on that one. Since you can go buy all this stuff, would you say it's almost slowly transitioning into a not so much a pay to win, but a pay to level?
Well, it's always been a pay to advance. With the institution of premium time, it's been a pay to advance, and I'm okay with
Mm-hmm.
pay to advance, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100% okay with pay to advance. It'll never be a pay to win because they don't have gold ammo. You. There's a misconception and misperception. Is that the same thing? I don't know. People perceive premium boats as pay to win because a good player knows how to make a boat work.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that. Oh, why did that do that?
Yeah, so it's more of a pay to advance then.
Yeah,
Well, like I
which
said,
is
a pay to
fine.
level.
Pay to level, pay to advance, and with that, I don't have a problem with, and I'm okay if people want to buy the premium time, fine. I don't care. They buy the premium time, but learn the game as you go.
Yep.
Learn the
And I think
game.
the problem is there's so many things they can get now to help them with the advancement and speed up the process
Mm-hmm.
to get that shiny end reward faster.
Mm-hmm.
They're not learning anymore. The learning has stopped. The caliber of people that we're playing against now compared to the people you're playing against 2 years ago, way different. Simply because they're getting through the ship so quickly, they're not learning the right angling. They're not learning the good positions on the maps. They don't have to. Because even on a bad game and a loss, they're still moving rather quickly through lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't necessarily think that these people having the pay to advance doesn't make them a better player. It just makes them. It just helps them grind through something, and it's on that player to sit there and take the initiative on whether they're going to get better or not.
Yeah.
And if they don't care, then what can you do? If you don't care, then go into bots, go play co-op.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't care to get better and you don't want to see this is where me and a lot of other people have issues with. I have issues
the
with
line parts.
Yeah, right. If you're going to do something, you do it to be whatever ability that you can. If you're going to do something, you're going to do it 100% or whatever you're capable of. So if I'm going to go into this game, and this is all the mentalities that I have, I'm going to go into this game, I'm going to get to where I can be a pretty decent player. I'm never going to be the best player, and I know this. I'm never going to be the worst player because I'm actually trying and actively changing my mentality to play the game. So that's already a thing. I don't understand the people that come in to play the game that just come in and they play only co-op or they play only operations and they're like, yeah, I play that game. No, you don't. You really don't. Technically, you really don't play the game because you're never really experiencing the ups and downs, and you're only playing against a set number of mechanics that you will figure out eventually. They go here. Let me put myself here. This is the optimal spot to shoot that guy coming around that corner. Well, now if you take that mentality into one of these ranked sprints, well, guess what? These people turn. These people shoot back. These people shoot back, and they know what they're doing. So it's it's okay to be bad at something. It's okay to fail at this game. It's okay to not be good at this game. Those players
You're not going to 10-game win streaks every single night. You're going to lose.
Yeah.
Just at least try and help your team.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, Khreegor, I would much rather play with that guy that's bad, that's willing to listen and willing to adapt to something that, hey, don't go in there. You need to come over here with us, or you need to go ahead and make your push there, or, why are you over here? Explain to me why you're thinking this. Explain it to me, and then maybe we can help you out with, there's all right. You're on hydro, right? Yeah. Well, why would you go around that corner? That they are there. Well, I thought I could get him. I was like, well, he knew you were there. He literally knew what you were doing. He could see you the entire time. Why would you want to do that? Because I thought I could. I mean, I would rather play with that guy because he's willing to listen and willing to adjust his game to make him a better player than that guy that's like, I'm just here wanting to have fun.
Yeah. Or the guy that just wants to scream at you the entire time because that is his fun.
Yeah.
I try not to tell people their fun's wrong, but let me tell you what, that guy's fun is wrong.
Yeah. And and then there's several different players. There's several different types of players that you see, and there's the let's start from the top and work our way down. All right, start from the top and work our way down. You have the super purple unicorns, and they've got their own playstyle, right?
Yep.
It's a very selfish playstyle. I want my PR rating to go up, and I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care what you're doing. I will go with the main group, and I will just fling my HE, and this is what we're gonna do. Then you have the next tier player, which I've never really labeled that next tier, that are very good. But they don't have the numbers for PR because they are more willing to push things. They play a lot looser. The looser good players. Does that make sense? And then we come down another step, where you have the middling guys. The average guys. That's where I'm at, third or fourth tier, where they're very good at times, but they still make a lot of mistakes. But more often than not, they're probably pretty solid every game. Willing to do things, willing to sit back if they need to sit back, willing to go in if they need to go in. And then you have the learning players past that. You have the super potato. Right now, this super potato is not a new player. This is a super potato, and I'm not going to throw out any names, but you guys know who I'm talking about. You guys all know these players that have been so bad at this game for so goddamn long that you look at them and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy's on my team. You guys all know who I'm talking about. You guys know those players. There's several of them. Then you have the new player, right? And I put them above those. Super potatoes, right? The new player who doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know what's going on, and it's maybe less than 300 games. I still consider 300 games still new. Then you have the guy that's bad, that doesn't know that he's bad, and he thinks you're the problem, Khreegor. You're the reason why.
Oh yeah,
those guys. He thinks he knows everything.
I love those guys.
He thinks he knows everything, and he's not able to self-critique himself. And then you have those guys that are better than the new guy, better than the guy that's bad, and they're still learning the game and willing to learn. Those are the guys right there that I want to play with. I want to play and help teach these guys. I want to play and maybe give them a little bit of a mentality check and say, hey, you can do this, but notice this is what's going to happen. You know, and I'm surprised that I play with a lot of different bros. I play with a lot of dudes, Khreegor.
Somebody's got to have a hobby.
I play with a lot of dudes on my show, and some of them, they're varying degrees of varying degrees on this scale. And the one thing that I notice about the bottom four that we just finished talking about is that everything is the same. And when this player that is learning the game and is listening and is getting better, once he starts paying attention to that mini map and starting making these call outs faster than I do, those guys get better very quickly. Those guys get better very quickly. I've sat there and I've played with a lot of players, and one thing has remained the same. I will make a call out, and then about a couple of maybe a minute and a half later, where'd that guy come from? Well, I said that a minute and a half ago. And I think that if people start paying attention more to the mini map, they move up those ranks faster. Yep. And they get into the average guys, and then they're able to get into the solid guys because they're paying attention. They know what's coming around that corner, and I that's my biggest tip for anybody playing World of Warships is paying attention to that mini map, and understanding the flow of the game. But that comes with time, and so that's not something that you can teach. Hey, I see 3 battleships over here. Oh man, well let's check this out. I mean, and there's what's potential, and I don't know. Maybe it takes a special player. I know Krieger, you can do it. You pay attention to the mini map quite a bit, and Oni, my God, Oni is like one of the best guys at explaining what's going on. I could do
Yes.
it, but I don't do it very often. And I usually when it's I'm explaining what's going on, it's more of this is what I'm doing. Oh, what do you guys think of this? Let's go do this. That's kind of my general explanation when I'm playing. But Oni, man, he is so spot on with his
Oh, he's a damn
mentality.
machine.
Yeah, and I recommend guys if y'all want a learning process of mentality, Oni is the tops.
Yep. And then
Oh
him and Lord Sath,
yeah.
Sandomir stuff, they do amazing breakdowns. They're not condescending. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, both great guys. If you want to get tips, you want to get pointers, reach out to them. Send them a couple replays. They'll either do it on the side, they'll do it on the stream for you, break it down, help you out with it.
You know,
Because they could read it and process it so fast. I
yeah.
wish I could keep up with them sometimes.
I can do it after the fact, but during it, it's hard for me to do it because I'm paying attention to my own stuff and then trying to pay attention over there. I generally pay attention to my own things and then make call outs and expect the people to already be there. I think that's where my fail when I play with some of these guys that maybe not be as good as I am or as average as I am. If I say that, then I feel I sound conceited, but I'm trying not to be conceited. But I understand. Hopefully, you guys understand that I am want to make the call outs to give our team the best chance. Hey, there's a battleship coming around this corner. Watch out for torpedoes. We that guy just dropped his torpedoes. You're good. Okay, watch out. He'll have his torpedoes ready. Get ready to turn. Whatever. I mean, stuff like that. But I just after playing the game for so long, we kind of take a lot of these things for granted.
Yep.
Playing in a division, majority of my gameplay, because I don't like playing this game solo, I've been kind of blessed with decent crews. Me and Mr. Swole played for a long time. Me, Mr. Swole, and Fitz and your mom, we played every day for a year. So I mean, I know when Swole's going to do. I know what Fitz is going to do, and I can count on them to do it. And there's a lot of things that go along with that, and a lot of trust factor, and having these new guys and building up that trust factor. Hey, there's this call out. Okay, where are you going to be? And you're up there in the middle of the cap, sitting broadside, or bowing up to things. It's okay to make a turn and take a little bit of damage. Maybe you even get killed, but if you're sitting there, I guarantee you're going to be killed. I mean,
Yeah.
and and that is due to lack of experience in games, and that's something that unfortunately, Krieger, you can't teach experience. They have to go in there and fail, and
Well,
that's
and learn from it. That's the biggest thing. If you're just going to keep going in and failing and you're not going to try and learn from it, then you're wasting everybody's time at that point.
yeah. Well, I don't think you're wasting anybody's time. I mean, obviously they have a particular. Obviously, they have a particular way of wanting to play the game, and everybody's entitled to that. Everybody's entitled to play how they want to. Everybody's entitled to that,
Yeah.
and I'm also entitled to my opinions, good
Hey,
or
we've all
bad.
got opinions. You
Yeah,
know what
we
they
all
say
have,
about
we,
it.
yeah, we all have opinions. But anyway, what do you think? What do you think the mentality is? Where do you think that we can go with the mentality of the game? How do we as streamers? How do we as community contributors? How do we as players go about trying to shift that mentality?
I mean, really, all we can do is just try and, to the best of our ability, break down why we're doing things, why we're looking at things, and hope that at least one nugget sticks with each person that tunes in. Just something, even just one thing. If they're watching you 5 days straight for the entire week, as long as they learn at least one or two things and take it away this week, and one or two things from Oni next week, or Senpai, or any of the other CCs, or any of the other content creators who know what they're doing when they're playing, or something for me. Just take away one thing, if nothing else. I don't care if you watch for 20 hours and don't learn anything beyond that one thing. as long as you're learning something a month, 2, 3 months from now, you're gonna get better. And then you, please, for the love of God, don't critique people in a match. It pisses them off. But if you can find a way to share it without yelling at somebody and saying, "Hey, do this," because nobody wants to hear that one. Or but throw out like you do. Hey guys, his torps are going to be back up. Watch that side. Nobody can get pissed at that one. Just share. Share what you learn in a positive way, and just take one nugget away. Just one each week. It'll as you start to see your gameplay getting better and those big shiny numbers getting bigger and the wins racking up, you're going to enjoy it more. Like, I don't care who says that I just play for fun. I don't care if I lose. I have a hard time believing that. Nobody goes and plays games or does sports or anything else because they want to lose. So
yeah. there's some comments that I've heard similar to that.
I know which ones you're talking about.
Players in the NFL didn't get there because they wanted to be the best. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Those are legit the best players in the world.
Yeah.
Those are legit. You don't think fucking Tom Brady?
Unicorns of football. You know?
I'm like, holy shit, I'm not allowed to disparage any other community contributor, so I will refrain on who said that, Pyro. But anyway, what do you guys think? What can we do as community contributors? Or what do you think Wargaming can do as community as a game company to encourage the knowledge base and encourage the player base to get actually better at the game? I don't think that I honestly, Krieger, I don't think that they care.
No.
I don't think that they care. I don't think that they want the player base to get better. I just say they're playing the game. We don't care.
Yeah.
We want them to play however, and that's not bad. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. I might be making it out to be a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. This is their game. This is their business. We want people to play, and if the longer people play, the more apt they're willing to open up their wallet and give us money for this particular boat or this particular thing or get premium time. They don't care how they play the game, just that they're playing the game in general. And I'm not going to knock them for that because that's their business. Do you think that it's on? Yeah. Do you think that teaching the player base? I know everybody wants these, like, there should be some tutorial. Wargaming should do tutorial videos on how to play this game, and I'm like, nah, I don't think that'll ever work because everybody has their own play style, and there's boats that fit a bajillion different play styles out there. Mm-hmm. I think it's basically through the school of hard knocks, trial and error.
I think it starts at the beginning. The new player experience is a goddamn dumpster fire.
I think so.
I've been through it when I made my EU account. I watched Mijash go through it with his Mijash Day 1 videos he created. You don't learn anything. Your protected matchmaking doesn't help you. All you're playing against is other people who learned really, really bad things from bots. Like, I would have been one of those people had I not picked up the game and started streaming it right out the gate and gotten lucky enough for one of my mod stamps to come along and be like, dude, stop. I'm going to save you a shit ton of heartache right now.
I think that
this, and this different. I went, okay, I'll give it a shot. But I'm open-minded. If somebody, when I go check somebody's stats and they got 20,000, 10,000, 2,000 more games than me, whatever it is, and they're succeeding and they're going to give me advice, I'm going to listen. You are clearly better than I am. I'd be stupid not to listen to you.
Well, there's a difference. We're a little bit older than a lot of people. I was also consider myself lucky in that category because the first day I showed up, I had some of the best players that I've ever played with and most enjoyable people to be around come into the channel, and it's like, yeah, this game kind of sucks by myself. Anybody want to play? And they were like, yeah, we'll play. And they continued to come back and play. And I would start asking them questions. I was like, well, what do you guys think of this? What do you think of that? And then they would like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to help you turn. And they were like, why? It's because the torpedoes are coming. It's like, dude, it's a Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, Cleveland's got torpedoes, man. The Omaha does. Cleveland's got to have torpedoes. So watch out for the Cleveland torpedoes, guys.
Yeah.
So I mean that was legit. I thought that this guy was bringing torpedoes because I was so new at the damn game. that I didn't know that it didn't have torpedoes. It's my first game that I ever seen in Cleveland. You know, and it was paying attention to them, watching what they were doing, and listening to them, and hey man, I've got to worry about this warspite. You know, dude plays a warspite with me when we hit tier 6, and I'm in the Aoba, and you know that boat's rough, for lack of a better word. That boat's rough, and I'm like, yo, this all right. There's a cruiser here, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna shoot at that. I'm gonna shoot at this cruiser, and he's like, okay, boom, and he's gone. And this dude would just name was Poulter, would just absolutely dominate every one of these boats. Okay, I'm going to shoot at this guy. Boom, he's gone. I was like, God damn it, man! How do you do that shit? I don't get it. I don't understand how you do it. He's like, well, you're not playing a battleship. Come play a battleship. And I was like, okay. So I started playing battleships, and I started seeing those, started doing it, and I started picking up what he was doing. I was following him around, playing next to him, and not necessarily puppy dogging him, followed him around like that, but playing close enough to where I could pay attention to what he was shooting at in the opportune targets. And this is where I picked up the targets of opportunity. Take the shots of opportunity whenever you can, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and people, I get why they don't want to ask questions in game, because while you might have 2 or 3 people on the team willing to help you, you're probably going to have 2 or 3 people that are just going to flame the shit out of you for it. And if they start the roasting before the other people can help you, the other people are just going to backspace out and be like, I don't want to get into this. I wish people would ask more questions. Not just to learn, but if you see me doing something stupid, be like, why did you do that? A lot of times if I did something dumb, either going to be like, because I wasn't paying attention to the minimap, I was, tunnel visioning, or I'm going to say because I was attempting to do this and this. So either you spotted something I didn't, and I'm going to learn from it, or I'm doing something you never thought to, and you're going to learn from it. It's not just a team game in the game. If you have figured out some tips that can help somebody else, even the CCs, let us know. We are not flawless at this game.
No, I'm very
screwed up.
I'm something that the players that have been around longer do that I think the new players miss out on is the self-critique. I am very hard on myself when I make mistakes. You guys seen it when I play rank seasons, and I'm going in there and I'm like, you fucking idiot, you had hydro, you didn't have it up, and you just ate 2 torpedoes and died. You're a fucking moron. Pay attention to what's going on in the game. And I am very hard on myself, and there's a way to approach this conversation with people. Hey man, I saw you playing in the game, do this. Well, fuck you. Well, don't tell me how to fucking play my game. That's generally the attitude that you get. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it when people come in there and be like, "Wow, man, I'm ripping and raving on this other guy over here. Hey, man, what the fuck is this guy thinking? We've all done it. Why is this guy over here, man? He should be up here. Why are you sitting so fucking far back?" And it's like, come on, man, show a little bit of something for the game. It's like, I don't understand why these people are over there, and I'm asking, I'm like, why are you thinking that this is the best way to be? And I'm legit concerned. I'm like, why do you think that this is the right way? And I think one person has ever come back and actually gone. The rest of it's like, fuck you. So there's a way to approach that conversation with people. It's very hard to do in game. It's very hard to do in game because emotions are running high, and if they make us, fuck you, you're an idiot. But nobody, even myself, when I'm ramping and raving on somebody, well, you just did this. Fuck you, man. What the hell? Who the hell are you to say that? To say this when you just did that? I was like, because I know what I did wrong. Thank you very much. Do you know what you did wrong?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, and a big one, too. Being able to admit you screwed up. Nobody wants to do it. Even I suffer from that sometimes, but man, I am very just got to be able to do
adamant, and the people that are here that hang out in the chat a lot, they know 100%. Man, I fucked up. I played like a moron. I'm the first person to say that shit. I am the very first person. God damn it, I fucked up here. I say that shit more than I say my fucking sub speech. I fucked up.
Yeah.
God damn it, I fucked up.
See, I don't even say that one. My rebuttal when I screw up is to say, okay, so now everybody wrote that down. Maybe grab a clip of it, and I want you to study it and never do what I just did. See, I try to put a fun spin on it, because usually people will remember the things that made them laugh, and then when they get in that position, they're like, "Oh, I remember when Khreegor was here. This didn't end right for him," and then they won't repeat it. Is my hope.
Yeah. That, and you know, even if they've seen it 100 times, they're still going to do it once, and they're going to be like, "Well, maybe I could do it. Khreegor's just sucks."
Yeah, or they're like, "I could pull this off." Wham!
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I see
he was
why
right.
he said don't ever repeat this one. Okay.
So, but you know, that's the experience that you can't teach. And anyway, so there you go, boys. Mentalities. What do you guys think of the mentalities? Go ahead and leave your comments into the chat, guys. We're hanging out with my man at twitch.tv/Khreegor. You guys can also hit him up over on his Twitter at @the_Khreegor. You guys can hit me up at Sir_Venom_IK over on the Twitter or right here in the chat if you guys are on YouTube. Twitch.tv/SirVenomIK. Well, Mr. Khreegor, coming toward the end of another episode of Across Your Bow podcast. I want to say thank you very much for coming on, man. I do appreciate it. It's always a fun time, and it's always enjoyable conversation, and that's what we did today. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and put them into the chat now. And as we get Khreegor's information, tell them where they can find you, which is we've already told them that. But what's your schedule? What are you looking at? You playing boats? You playing Warcraft? Or what you got? What you got going on?
Man, there's so many games getting ready to drop all in the next week and a half. So we got
Borderlands
ships. We're riding through ships. We got Borderlands this Friday. Rumor right now is next week or the week after the Alpha 18 for 7 Days to Die, which me and a bunch of my guys just. It's almost like Benny Hill with zombies when you get us all together. We put a fail meter up on there. We tick that thing away to see how high we can get it with stupidity, which is always a good time. Work Classic with you and the rest of the boys and the ladies out there. And then 10 days from today, I'll be on my way to Seattle for the Anchors Away Turner Joy.
There you go. So if you guys are up in the Seattle area,
I'll be there for this Saturday.
That's right. He will be wearing my bikini.
Only if you get here in time for FedEx. I'll casually forget to give you the address.
He will be wearing my bikini with my Wargaming community contributor Nibble Pasties.
All right, well, I got to see these pasties.
You haven't seen the pasties? Have you not seen the photo?
Pasties. I saw the black part of the bikini top and
that's cloth,
laughed so hard my side hurt and I was in tears because you actually managed to find a bikini instead of having a duct tape a flannel shirt. But I got to tell you, that was some classy. Like that thematically was amazing.
All right, here I'm gonna link you. I gotta link this to you now.
Yeah, you got to.
In Gazo, or off of my Gazo app. If you haven't seen this, it's fucking great.
But for any of you folks that make it to Turner Joy on Saturday, come and find me. I will have some of the. I have some Gore-Pack lanyards still from PAX, and I'm gonna be ordering a new round.
Oh, you should send me one.
We'll have both the hammer and the shield emoji on it.
You should send me one.
Okay. Do you want the current round, which just has the hammers and says Gore-Pack, or do you want to wait for the one that's going to have the hammer and the shield?
Yes.
You're like, I just want both.
Either one. Either one.
Here. Oh, no, I think the wife took it and put it with the rest of them so I wouldn't lose them. I had a bundle of them sitting here on my desk the other day.
All right, boys, let's go ahead and jump on over into the Q&A section. And guys, if y'all are wondering what I've been doing, we'll be playing our normal games, having a good time here, and we've been playing. You saw the picture,
I did not notice the pasties on there before. I just tuned in and saw you in the bikini top before and was just laughing so hard. I didn't pay attention to the fact that was CC emblem.
I had the it's right here on the middle of the screen. I had that logo printed up on some round stickers to give away to people at TwitchCon, which is the 25th. Is when I'm leaving, the 25th of this month, amazing. and I put them on there. I thought it was pretty funny. Guys, we'll be hanging out. We'll be playing a little bit of ships. We'll be playing a little bit of WoW Classic as we are grinding through that at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Unless something untoward happens, we shall check out the Twitter and get the updates. So either way, guys, let's go in. First question, Lafloofy Sniper Ducko says, I know the Smolensk is coming up due to the fact that Khreegor is a cruiser monkey. Now, we really didn't get into the Smolensk in Colbert and Friesland. So what do you think? Real quickly, what do you think about the Smolensk?
I don't think it should have been released. Not in the way it is right now. want to say perpetuates it. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's this crazy fire spam meta.
Mm-hmm.
I said it during testing. I'm like, look, if I'm the only one that gets this boat, and I said it multiple times while testing it on stream, if I'm the only person that gets this boat, I'll be totally happy. But if this thing makes it out in public hands, guaranteed pitchforks and torches. This thing is way too strong for its own good right now. And
you know what? You know what I think will fix
it's
it?
not as easily punished as they think.
You know what I think that fixes it? Just take away this fucking smoke.
Yeah.
Take away the smoke and it's fine. Because he can't sit there and hide in his smoke and still throw that much fires out there.
Yeah. Essentially, it's. I think it would have been a great tier 10 to cap off a light cruiser line for Russia if Russia ever actually had it. But
dude,
Russia
I think
historically built battle cruisers. That's all they ever built.
Yeah. I think that a lot of the releases lately could have been another line. Massachusetts, Georgia, Ohio coming out should have been another line. Should have been shouldn't have been a tier 8 break off.
The figureheads for a new line.
You know, I mean, I think that would have been a great line, but you know, they made a lot of money off of it, so I mean, I guess you really can't do it. I think that a light cruiser line would be great. I think a heavy cruiser line for the UK should come in. A heavy cruiser line and not, you know, no smoke, but no heel, just beefy fucking things until you get to tier 9, and then they have the heels like you know the rest of the line does. I think that would be a great thing. But Smolensk is a little overpowered. I think there's only a few community contributors out there that thinks it's fine because it has 35,000 hit points. The spreadsheet says it's fine because it only has 35,000 hit points. So either way, that's neither here nor there. Camo68A says there were some truly poor players in teams where you were trying to rank out. There should be some separation, not that it prevents the power grinders, but it will help. I think that with the rank season being all one pool this time around in rank sprint, they're testing something, but for the life of me, I cannot imagine what the fuck they're testing. This was a mistake. And if they decide that they want to put that mechanic into regular ranked, then you're just having more randoms. It's just another random. And I'm sorry, but they have to have some separation between randoms and a rank season because people have to be able to do some kind of competitive thing, either clan battles or rank season, and not be punished with the people that only have 200 games.
So I'm going to tinfoil hat the shit out of this one. Pure speculation, my own opinion.
Right.
No fact behind this. I think what they're testing is by having everybody in a pool. How does it impact the games as a possible segue into maybe an ELO system? Do people who can't get out of 10 really hold back the people that are ranking out that easily? And how big of an impact does it have? I think it's testing the waters for an ELO system. My concern is they're going to try and use it to prove that wouldn't help anything, which they are. And I will say it to any of them. I will reach out to Sasha, all of them, and say, you're 100% fucking wrong if you think an ELO system doesn't work, because you're the only game out there that I can think of off the top of my head that does a rank system that does not use an ELO system for matchmaking and ranking people out. Again, tinfoil hat.
I am 100% against the ELO system here.
Really?
Right. Mainly,
Why?
If they wanted to implement it, fine. But we would all have to agree at what would they consider ELO gaining. Wins only? Then you might as well just have the star system. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
PR, it's an imaginary fucking number. That has no bear. That's not from wargaming. Kills, damage. I mean, that's all boostable. You know.
Yep.
I mean, there's
what we talked about earlier, where you promote playing your ship style.
But that goes, of course, that all goes
to get it done
into the intent. So I don't see how it would work. I don't see what they would do to give that mathematic portion to give you ELO to put you somewhere. I don't understand. I don't get it. If they did it, fine, whatever. I don't care that at this point in time, I don't see the mechanics working at all because I don't understand how you would gain ELO.
Yeah,
Do
I
I
mean, it'd
gain
be tricky
elo
on how you
because
do
I
it.
lost?
They've kind of started to figure it out with clan battles, based on where your points are sitting. But again, it's a tinfoil hat thing.
No,
There's a lot
absolutely.
of other stuff that would have to come in to make it work, but it's worked so successfully in other
Well,
AAA titles. I mean, I'm throwing it out
that's
there. They're no a AAA title. They're a
that's
small company compared.
well, this is also the problem I have with it. Works in games like League of Legends, but
Hmm.
this isn't League of Legends. This is 12.
Correct.
This is 12 on 12 for randoms. 7 versus 7 in ranked or whatever the fuck they want to put it at that time. And you only
Yeah.
gain elo if you fucking win. So basically, we're doing the same shit. They're just putting a number to it. You only gain
Yeah.
stars if you fucking win. So technically, you're gaining elo right now.
Kind of. The way it works is, and I don't have all the background numbers. I'm not going to pretend to be the programmer. The better you do, even on a loss, you have a smaller hit. But you have to have checkpoints in for what counts as good and what counts as bad for a destroyer. What counts as good for what counts as bad for a cruiser. So there's a lot behind it, but again, it's a tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can figure out why they would do this, unless somebody forgot to flip a switch and they went, nope, totally intended.
It was a feature. Fluffy Sniper Ducko. Player base doesn't want to camp. Makes BBs camp by running all the AP in the game. Now it's a cruiser thing and a fire meta. It's been that way since they released the British battleships.
Yeah.
Sniper Ducko also says, at Khreegor, your first game I played at AP Nerf in the Wyoming was overpinning main belt armor on a St. Louis.
Yeah, this doesn't feel so good.
Yeah. What do you expect? DD's cried so much about Battleship AP, screwed the whole. How did they do it? Screwed 90% of the AP. I still think that if they'd taken away, instead of going 10%, and they've just taken away half of the major pins, it would have been fine, because we still would have had to hit them 7 or 8 times before we killed them. Instead of one-shotting them, we would still have to 3-shot them. I think that would have been more consistent and better, as opposed to how many times have you gotten rushed while you're playing a battleship now from 12 kilometers away, and the only things that you can defend yourself against with are secondaries that suck because they don't do damage fast enough, unless you're one of these beefed up fucking Massachusetts line or some German.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen if they changed the way it calculated the armor pen on it, as opposed to what they did. So when the destroyer is charging in, that shell hits, it's traveling the full length of the ship. There's no
Agreed.
way that thing did not get enough penetration by that point. You get the full pen, full damage as if I hit somebody else. So it would discourage a destroyer from YOLO charging me. However, when I'm catching that destroyer broadside through the cap, or going through a cap, I don't have enough, right? So now I'm getting my overpens. I expected he's going to survive.
Yeah.
It's zipping through. It doesn't have time to really gum up the works, but change.
But not
I
only
have no
that,
fear to charge you through my nose,
exactly.
through my bow. It
Doesn't
matter.
And not only that, but he's also going to drop 8 torps on you, and you're dead. You're taking
Exactly.
you're taking that. Well, what about my
Give
overpin
me a
on
chance
torps?
to stop him from closing the gap.
Yeah.
Now, once he closes that gap, gets broadside, you know what? I should have been paying attention to getting the shots in sooner if possible.
Agreed.
It's going to happen, but give me something.
We're talking about from Wonton Beef here. Says, I totally agree. If your DDs die in the first 2 minutes of the game, it's a total loss. Going back to what I said about having shitty DDs is more of a detriment than having shitty cruisers or shitty battleships. Yes. Because if they're not doing their job, then you lose, period. If you have shitty DDs, you're 100% going to lose. Servetto, imagine if your DDs die, how do you counter submarines? What happens if it's a one sub versus one sub, one DD, or, one DD on each side, one sub on each side? What happens when both of the DDs are dead and the subs are going out there? There's no sub versus sub combat from what I can tell. Unless they're on the fucking surface, then they eat a random torpedo.
Perfectly rolls in front of the torpedoes that's coming along, but I don't know how that's working in deep water, non-deep water. Until we get,
there's absolutely no reason for that sub to ever be spotted. He comes up, he pings the thing, he gets shown on the mini map. People can't fucking see him because he's outside of fucking. He doesn't get spotted when he pings. He just gets spotted a location on the minimap. How's the cruiser supposed to react? How's the battleship supposed to react to it when there's literally nothing they can do? And we're going to see that a lot.
Yeah.
We're going to see that a lot. Will subs be located with radar? All right. So the way that hydro and radar work, they will be spotted when they're in periscope depth and on the surface. Once they go below that and they go deep dive, they will not be spotted by hydro at all, which is stupid because that's what hydro does.
Yeah. Wasn't that the whole purpose for it? Was to ping everything below you and go, that's clearly not the ocean floor.
Yep.
It's shaped like a vibrator full of semen.
Yes or no, no and or yes says if they knew that periscope dive, they can get detected and they can shoot torpedoes. But if they are deep water dive, they can't be detected and at all, and they can't shoot. Correct. Correct. If they're in the deep dive, they cannot drop their peats. Questions with the subs. Do you think there will be issue for your team? DDs will be no. If your team DDs, there will be no counter to subs. We've already answered that question. Mars Lewicki says, as long as it's separate mode, I don't care. Give me the Captain Dodge as a captain with Kelsey Grammer's voice from down Periscope. Great movie, by the way.
Okay, that I want.
Yeah, I want that. I want that as well. But it will be a separate game mode for a while, and then we have already said, they have already said that it is coming, so deal with it.
So who had that Kelsey Grammer idea? Whose was that one? They are a
Wiki.
genius.
Yeah.
Wiki, you're amazing.
Yeah.
I want that.
Absolutely. I want it too. It's fucking great. I just want that lieutenant. You're almost out of your uniform. As hard as it seems, it's brain crashing. I've actually lost 3 co-ops games in the last 6 months. Wanted to just throw my PC against the wall after each, but yeah, it's not hard to understand the IQ level of some. It's co-op is a very hot button topic according right now, apparently, and the co-op player. In my personal opinion of the co-op player, it's not very high. Am I judging them for it? No. I mean, I just don't put any merit in anything they say. But that's about all I can go into that. I want a pink Baleo class sub, something reminiscent of Operation Petticoat. I've actually seen that movie, and I know exactly what you're talking about. When they ran out of the gray paint, and they ended up having to mix it with red, so it came out pink. So they had a pink sub.
I've never seen that one.
It's a good movie. It's an older movie though. Subs are commerce raiding force. The subs are implementing attack from ambush and waiting for days or weeks for their targets to arrive. I don't. Like I said, man, I don't see how subs are going to work in this game until they actually do come out into the game. We will never know. Let's see. I heard about the IFHE nerf to fire chance. Yes, IFHE nerf to fire chance is going to be 50% now, instead of the -1 or 2%. So now cruisers are going to be forced, if they want to pin, say tier 8, will not pin tier 10 DDs unless they have IFHE.
See, I don't think they quite grasp how that IFHE is impacting us right now. It's not so much the fire damage. Like, I can go back and look at a ton of my LMR games, and some of them where I burn a few different ships, just let it burn because I just feel like being a dick that match, I'll have a higher. But typically, most of my damage, and that and the Herguma are the two that got the biggest read from people, what they're doing with it, is the pure chunk of damage I'm going to do to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care if I'm not lighting you on fire. I'm still pulling
pretty
10 to 12K
decent numbers.
A chunk every salvo, and I can get 2 to 3 salvos in the air before the first one hits. So that's 30K gone. Oh no, I didn't light a fire. You're still creating a boat that requires an overpowered captain skill. It's
basically just SAP.
And then it performs too good.
Yeah. I think that I honestly think IFHE was a mistake to bring into the game. I think it was a bad mistake because it pushed these guys into setting more fires overall, and also pushed them into higher damage capabilities, which shifted the balance of the game from the battleship's hands into the cruiser's hands 100%.
Yep.
But
I don't think that fire shift is going to affect. I don't think it's going to have as big of an impact as I think it is. I hope it does, because I think we need to bring some more balance back in. But I don't think it's going to do as much as they think, unfortunately.
No. Danny Tadika says, Khreegor, you need a microscope to find your 2 bits.
I thought you needed the microscope.
I can let you borrow mine. If you really need it, I can let you borrow mine. BB should have...
You said about the bikini?
Absolutely. BB should have better AA because I don't see the fleets running around in World War II relying on cruisers for heavy AA to cover it. No, it was battleship due to them being basically stable gun platforms for big ass guns. I also, I mean, there's some pretty decent AA barges out there. Montana, North Carolina, Iowa. I think that the Tier 8 AA is pretty decent. If you set up the Freddy de Grober as a trolley AA boat, it's pretty fucking nasty as an AA boat. You can do that, or at least you used to be able to. I'm not sure how it works now with this new AA mechanic. Zabilla
There were
says,
actually some cruisers historically that was their job. The Alaska was an AA platform.
The
Her
Atlanta.
sister ship, the USS Hawaii, was an AA platform. I mean, the Alaska's credited with confirmed 2 or maybe 3. I'm pretty sure it's just 2 of the manned rockets. The Japanese manned rockets actually managed to get those things out of the air coming in. So I mean, they existed, but typically those were carrier escorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Yankee right there as well.
Yeah.
Yankee Jaeger.
Yeah, the Atlanta. The USS Washington doesn't wait. What's the battleship that's got the most plane kills? Isn't it like 20 some odd plane kills or some shit like that?
Yeah, I think it was the Washington.
Then the
20,
Washington or some shit, something like that. Confirmed kills.
Yeah,
I mean that right there just says that their RNG was on their side, I guess, according to Wargaming. So typically the Americans put an emphasis on AA with after Pearl Harbor. Well, fuck, what are they going to do? They're going to fucking drop planes on us. So let's counter that with AA. And
yeah, but if you look at it, Germany didn't really run CVs. British didn't really run CVs too much. In the Atlantic, it was boat to boat.
Yeah.
The necessity was for our battleships in the Pacific, we had to have
if you
the AA.
didn't,
So it makes sense for Japanese in the U.S. to have the best AA on their battleships. That's what they were designed for.
Right. Would you say that being a CC, getting a ton of free flags, that also helps your grinding? Absolutely. What do I say to people? Hey, you want to grind through this shit easier? If you're having a boat that you struggle with, at minimum do 10K a day. And then while you're doing it, flag it up, camo it up, whatever you got in your repertoire. Take some of that coal. Go buy some experience flags, and throw them on there. That'll help that grind to go easier. If there's a boat that you don't like, put all that shit on it, man. Play through it as fast as you can to get to that next one, because you might look like the next one. You might, I mean, you might not like the Tier 7 one. Like, I don't like the Tier 7 French cruiser, but I think Tier 8 is fucking phenomenal. Tier 9 is great, and Tier 10 is great, but I had to play through that shitty one to get through the one that I actually enjoyed. So absolutely. Zabilius
10K a day.
says,
I adopted it after hearing it from you. I learned that was that tidbit I took away that one day.
10K a day, baby.
It's getting me through the German battleships that make me want to just vomit every time I play them.
Zabil says, I'd like to see a streamer chill out more on people that play poorly. I've said before, I'm newish and is still learning a lot, but the negativity sucks sometimes. No one wants to get hit with 12 torps broadside. I made a mistake. Well, if you got hit with 12 torps broadside the first time, then you should start paying attention more to the minimap and knowing the flow of the game. If you can understand where they're coming from, then you can position yourself to not be in that channel, not be in that, just don't be there. I mean that's it's easier said than done, obviously. But hey, there's a DD out there. Hey, you've successfully dodged one set. Well, you probably don't want to go broadside, or as soon as those first rack of Peds come across, go ahead and make your turn then, because it's going to be a while before they have another set up. Don't wait too long to make your move.
Yep. Yeah, and we're all going to eat it. I mean, hell, yeah. I did the other day.
I do it all the time.
I was in the Fuso. We're doing sprints, and I'm firing, so I'm not even thinking, why am I saying spotted? I see the battleship, we're firing back and forth, didn't realize, because one of their DDs completely skipped the cap, came right into our back line. All of a sudden, Right in my
Boom.
broadside.
Torpedoes right in the
It
broadside.
happens.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
You know,
And you know, even the better players, man, they still eat fucking peas all the time. I mean, it's not, you know, eating a pea is not a bad thing. It just, hey, you made a mistake. Now, why did you make that mistake? Did you see him on the mini map? Do you have last known positions on your mini map? Do you have names on the mini map? You know, that is very important. You know, go through and turn those things on. So just in case, was this guy spotted? If he was spotted, then it's all on you for hitting those torps. I can't help you. You know, I mean, if he was spotted and you know that guy's there, then you need to preemptively start doing these little zigzags, you know, making a turn out and then slowly turning back in and then make a big long one out and then slowly turn back in. I mean, there's a lot of counterplay that goes along with battleships and along with cruisers to play against DDs, and the longer range that you have, and if you know that there's a DD out there or two DDs on that side, don't fucking be there because you know the torps are coming. Turn the fuck around and start the kite mode because it's easier for you to dodge going away from these torpedoes than it is going into them.
yep. And honestly, if you're in a stream where you can't ask somebody a question without getting flamed by them, fuck them. Go somewhere else. They don't deserve your view, man. You know, if they're going to be there showing it off, they need to be willing to answer the questions on it. Like, why are you showing it off unless the other option is, you know, you're just there to try and make your EP grow bigger? Like, I love interaction. If I can ask a question on something and get an answer. I've been in channels where I've asked a question and gotten chewed out by the moderators, and my reply was, "Cool, thanks for letting me know not to be here." And I've left, and I've never gone back.
No. Well, there's also something to be said about the questions that you ask. You got to ask the right questions. I mean, like, because if you come in, and I know the most frustrating question that I get is, how to game? How do I play this game? Oh man, motherfucker, do you know how long I can sit here and talk to you about how to play this fucking game? So be specific with your questions. Like specific questions are so important and so vital because it gets to the point that you really need to know, and you don't have to wade through 3 hours of my bullshit to get to the point that you want to that you want me to make. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll get that one. And usually my answer to that one is just follow up with a question. Well, specifically, are you asking, you know, how do you play the cruiser this style? Or are you asking how do you play the game in general? Yes. Yeah, and I'll tell them, help me out because I can easily spend the next 3 hours and we can have a conversation. Nobody else is going to enjoy it, but you and I are going to have a blast.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Specifically, what were you trying to know? Like, how do you go get the game? Or
yeah. Let's see. Solus Bill, we only got 2 more here. Well, they should do something for parts that aren't specifically told, like how to use manual secondaries, how to mark target for help, how to use the newly modified AA. They just make a button for it. I believe that there is information about that out there. Control click for manual secondaries. Look at and push. Oh, I do believe they did videos about those. And I do believe that it is in the news section as well. I don't know about videos for it, but I know they've done something. There's little tips on how to do things. Read the skill manual secondaries. I'm not sure if it even says it in there, but you know, little tool tips. Hey, to use manual secondaries, hit control and then click your target. But you know, control click has been around for such a long time. I usually just take that for granted that people know that because it's always been a mechanic in there, and then they took it away from the AA. So maybe people don't know anymore.
For that one would be a really good one when you mouse over and you're about to select the skill. You know, here's what the skill does, and then down at the bottom in parentheses, control left click secondary target.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so this will let me focus one person. Oh, and that's how I focus them. Perfect. I get it now. You don't need a whole video on it. If you just put that little tip in there, it can make the difference for somebody who picks a skill because he goes, oh, great, it's going to focus. And then they're in the game getting frustrated going, why aren't they shooting? I picked the skill that's supposed to make them focus.
Yep. All right, last question here. New player experience needs something to make it easier. Tutorial videos on how to DD, as well as tutorial videos on various playstyles would be good. Hell, I've got 3K games, and I still have issues with anything other than battleships. Wandering, there's great resource here. It's called youtube.com/ServantOfMyK, and there's a whole new player base. New play, World of Warships for Beginners is the playlist, and there's 30 or 40 videos in that thing about mechanics and you know, how to shoot with the dynamic crosshair, how to lead the boat, how to read It's something that nobody does anymore because they all cheat and they put on that navigator and it shows them the fucking angles and how to read the fucking smokestacks. The smoke is billowing way out past the fucking deal. That motherfucker's at full speed. It's I've got videos on a lot of different things out there, and or ask your local streamer, your favorite streamer, or Sir Venom. We can explain a lot of these things on how to do these things and what at least what the overriding mentality behind destroyers is, because I think that wargaming refuses to do this and consciously does not make how to DD videos because they don't want to dictate how the game is played. They want you to go out there and play how you want to play and figure out what boats fit how you want to play.
Yeah. And wondering, don't feel bad for only being into battleships and having just a horrible time in the other two with it. The biggest thing I tell everybody when they say, what should I start with? I always tell them cruisers. Don't start with battleships.
Yeah.
Not because they're bad ship. Freaking love playing battleships. But the play style for them will teach you really bad habits. Try and repeat that same play style. You get punished hard. So it's nothing you're doing wrong. It's just you learned one play style that does not mesh well with the other two. And so you have to untrain yourself without losing the skills. And that is really hard to do.
Yeah.
Without getting frustrated at first. But man, once you get past it, because you know what those battleships are going to do, you know where they're going to aim, you know their positioning. Once you start to get a flow on how to use torpedoes, you're going to be a freaking monster against them. Once you learn how to use island cover in a cruiser, you are going to burn the crap out of the battleships because you know what they're going to do. You played it enough. So don't get discouraged by it, man. Just work through the frustration, pop in your ass Venom, go check out his videos. We've mentioned a few other folks that are good at it. Pop over and yell at me if you need tips on cruisers, man. That's what I play mainly.
Yeah.
If there's a certain one you want to see, I have no problem loading up just about any cruiser I have, with the exception of the Omaha. God, I hate that ship.
Hey, another guy. Yeah.
I will play my Emerald over it, and somehow I do great in my Emerald.
You know what's funny, and you know how much RNG smacks me in the face. You guys know how much I despise the Omaha, Marblehead, and the Merman. I just hate them. I think they're terrible boats. I legit played one game and sold the Marblehead. Literally 2 or 3 days later, I got a super container, and it fucking gave it back to me.
That was RNGesus going, hey, you're number one.
You're really going to need this boat, sir. You're really going to need that boat in your repertoire. Well, guys, that's it. That's all we got. Khreegor, thank you so much again for coming on to the podcast. I know we went a little long, and I know you're getting ready to go get some dinner, man, so I'm going to let you go. Feel free if you want to come back. If you want to come back later on and play some, let me know. If not, then I do appreciate you for coming on. Guys, we're hanging out with our man Khreegor today. Tell them a little bit about yourself. Give them all your information real quick, and then we'll get out of here.
Guys, you can find me on twitch.tv/Khreegor or at @the_Khreegor on the Twatters, as Mr. Venom here likes to call it. You can also catch me in 10 days at the Acres Away event. I am primarily a cruiser monkey with a minor in Battleship and a what the hell did he just do in Destroyers. So I can teach you how to be overly aggressive in them. But
that's fun.
If cruiser is one of the ones you want to tackle, or you're trying to get better in battleships, head on over. More than happy to play just about any of them. Even if I hate the ship, if somebody's stuck in it and they're trying to grind through it, I will always queue it up and say, here's the best things I found. Let me show you. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, if I answer with a question, I'm not trying to be a dick. I just want to make sure I know where you're going with it so I can get you the right answer. So ask away.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm Sir Venom IK, Sir_Venom_IK over on the Twitter. Hit me over right here at twitch.tv/Sir Venom IK. Well, Khreegor, thanks again, man. We'll have to do this again in the future, man. It's always a nice thing to just sit here and just have a conversation about the game and what our thoughts and feelings are. That's it. That's all I got. Episode 36 is now in the books, boys. We are done. Say goodbye, Khreegor.
Boom. Bye, Khreegor.
See you later. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a great day, guys. Good luck in your matches tonight.
Absolutely. I have Mr. Gibbons scheduled for next week. So you guys be here next week on Tuesday. This will be the last episode for the month, as the next week is the day before I leave for TwitchCon, and I'm just going to be excited. So I don't think I'd be a good podcast host that time. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I am Sir Venom IK. That man is Khreegor. He already said goodbye, Khreegor. So we'll see you guys next time. Salutes, my friends.